Hello, how are you today?
Yeah.
Is space a donut?
After hours football debate for poachers, private eyes,
Could I ask you something personal?
and pole dancers.
I'm not in market for business, love.
Mike Graham's been all three at some point in his career.
Oh, really, you great big sweaty bush idiot?
And I'll tell you what, you were a better pole dancer than presenter, I can tell you that.
The two Mikes on Talk Sport.
Look at the light!
Theories.
Trouble with you is you use the time always as a handbrake U-turn to get out of an argument you can't win.
No, I use the time to keep the show going towards the right time frame that it's meant to go in.
Boulder Dash. Air dryer! I'll be down there with my banner and 3 fingers on each hand. Twat, twat, twat. Okay?
3 fingers on each hand.
Yeah. Twat means 3. Twat, twat, twat.
Yeah.
You know? And that'll be...
They'll be shouting it back to you as well. This is Talk Sport. We are the two Mikes. The start of another week, and time to say a very, very good morning and a very warm welcome to Mr. Mike Porky Parry. Very good morning to you, Mr. Parry.
very good morning indeed to you, Mike, and may I belatedly say happy birthday.
Oh, thank you very much indeed.
I mean, you did say to me last Friday morning, don't send me a message about my birthday
I don't
Sunday.
recall saying anything like that.
I don't want to make a big fuss of it, and then lo and behold, you spent the rest of the day reminding everybody it was your birthday.
Well, no, I didn't. No, the thing
With
was...
all sorts of daft pictures of bladderation pursuits.
No, not at all. The thing was, I would not have mentioned my birthday at all. It just so happened an awful lot of people wished me a happy birthday, and you weren't one of them.
And how do they know about it?
I've no idea how they know about it. I mean, how do people find out about your birthday? I've no idea.
Well, I don't get birthday wishes on my birthday because I keep it quiet.
Well, that's because you keep your birthday a secret.
No, it's not.
Yeah,
it's not at all.
Anyway,
Look, I didn't have time to do anything special, but I have got you a birthday present.
Oh, you've got me a present?
Yeah, I have got
That's
you a
very
present,
nice of you.
It's not meat. I mean, I won 2 meat raffles last
Yeah, I mean,
weekend.
you had an awful lot of meat to consume this
totally,
weekend.
yeah.
And I'm surprised you haven't sort of, got some kind of sclerosis, not sclerosis, what do they call it? Thrombosis going on with all that meat that you were
Well, I
supposed
haven't
to
eaten any myself, but I've given it all to my neighbours.
Have you?
On the old...
You see, I would, it's very weird, though, isn't it? I mean, somebody knocked on your door, even if you knew them,
Yes.
and they said, look, would you like this leg of
meat.
lamb?
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
I'd politely decline.
Why?
Well, because you don't know where it's come from.
No, you might have poisoned it or something like
exactly.
that.
I mean, you might have had some
totally
kind of mad breakdown and decided you're going to poison everybody in the building.
All I did was I stood on a chair in the penthouse garden yesterday and in the roof garden, and I
stood on a chair?
Yeah, on a chair, yeah. And I gave it across the wall to all the neighbours who wanted it. I said, "Do you want any frozen meat?"
What about the guy with the cat as well?
Yeah, I did. I said it's a peace offering. You keep your cat on my garden.
How many neighbours can you see from your penthouse
3
balcony?
Three.
So you gave them... Did you, throw it at them then?
No, I handed it to them.
Right.
And it was all good meat and all that kind of stuff, but I just decided there was too much meat there. I didn't need it all. So I didn't bring any meat, because last time I gave you some sausages, I didn't think I'd bother this time.
Well, to be honest, I mean, it wouldn't be a great thing for me to have to take home, would be meat that you've had in your freezer for, 4 days, 5 days?
Yeah. Well, yeah, but it's frozen if it's in a freezer.
Well, I don't care.
Yeah.
I wouldn't fancy it.
Yeah. In fact, you're quite right. If another neighbour looked over the wall at me and said, "You want some frozen meat?" I'd take it out of politeness and throw it away.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So have you got something there for me?
Well, it's a personal present.
I can hear you sort of rustling.
It's a personal present.
Personal present.
It's a personal present.
Oh, very nice.
And what it is, I've decided as a mark of, our working relationship, I've decided to donate to you an old pair of my headphones. What are you laughing at?
They've even got M. Parry written on the top of them.
Yeah,
that's unbelievable.
Yeah.
These actually could be worth something.
Well,
when you've passed on.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, maybe I could keep them as a kind of museum piece.
Yeah, I mean, they don't work, obviously.
They don't work either?
No, they're broken. That's why
they're broken.
An old,
so you give me a pair of broken headphones?
Yes, that's right, yeah, because if they
Which have actually got a kind of a rip in them as well.
They're a bit knackered, actually. Well, I've had them for about 2 years.
But it's probably quite an important artefact for you to keep,
Well, this is it, it's from the heart, really. Are these, the mark of our working relationship.
Are these part of your sort of early radio career, then? I mean,
well,
did you have these when you started
so.
at Talk
Yeah,
Sport?
I would say so, yeah. I would say they're pretty historical.
Well, it's a pretty useless present, but the sentiment...
What do you mean? What do you mean useless presents?
They don't work, right?
No, they don't work, no.
They're ancient.
Yeah. But you put them in a glass case in your house, don't you understand?
Put them in a glass case?
Yeah.
In the house?
Yeah.
And put what, like a little plaque?
Yeah. That's right, yeah.
These are Mike Parry's original headphones.
Yeah, well, you could look at
you are Elvis Presley or something.
Hang on. You could even...
Or the man whose name we cannot say.
Hang on, yeah.
I mean, if you were that famous, yes, absolutely.
No. What you can do is you can turn it on
to the neighbours.
You can don't be silly. You can turn it on yourself. You can sort of have a picture of you and me in a frame at the top of the glass cabinet, and then below that you have the headphones, and then below that you have a little plaque saying, a mark of friendship from my, broadcasting colleague, Mike Porky Parry, on so-and-such a date for my 44th birthday or 54th birthday, whatever it is.
Yeah. Maybe you could give me a pair of your old shoes or something. Put them in a case as well.
Well, I could do, yeah. Donated these to me as a mark of our working relationship. And then people will come into your house and they'll go, oh, gosh.
Hang on. I've just seen something's written on them as well.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Something's written. It says, it's very, very faint, but it says down the side of one of the right earphone, I think it is, Mike Parry, private property.
That's right, yeah.
But these are TalkSport headphones.
No, they're not. No,
they are.
No, they're not. No, I commandeered them.
These are TalkSport headphones.
No, I commandeered them.
Yes,
they're
they
mine.
are.
No, they're mine.
These are exactly the same headphones that we've always had in the studio.
Oh, yeah, but I purchased them.
You purchased them?
Yes.
What make are they?
I don't know. How did I know? I don't know what make of headphones you...
Did you buy them in a shop?
No. I bought them through our engineering department.
You nicked them from here, didn't you?
No, I didn't. No.
Yes, you did.
No, I didn't. No.
And then you wrote Mike Parry Private Property.
No.
Which is the mark of every thief.
No.
They always write their own name on it.
No. Anyway, listen, I don't know what I'm talking about this for.
I know
much more important things.
I've had a great idea, actually.
Yes.
What I think I will do with these is I'll donate them as a prize.
What?
I'll donate them as a prize.
What do we give them away?
Yeah.
I give you a present. You want to give them away? Who are you going to give them away to?
These have been sitting in a drawer at your house. They haven't been in a case, have they?
No. They have been in a display cabinet.
Have they?
Oh, yes.
In a display cabinet?
Yes.
Along with any other artefacts from your earlier broadcasting life?
Yes, things.
Like what?
My trophy.
All your awards?
Yes, exactly, yeah. Sorry.
No, I think we should give them away to the winner of the TalkSport Predictor Mini League, for which we are now in competition.
I don't think you should give them away to anybody.
I think
I've given them to you.
Well, why don't we ask the audience? We can ask them. If they think that I should give these away as a prize, they can tweet us at the Two Mics and tell us. I think it's a great idea. I'm going to send a picture out of them anyway.
Okay.
Because I can see that there's sentiment behind it.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, you must have given it at least 5 minutes thought before you decided to wrestle them from the bottom drawer and bring them in.
To be honest, I just noticed them on the way out tonight. But, they're important
so
parts
nice
of my former life.
To have wrapped them so well, too.
Well, I only
in
had
a plastic bag.
I only had this Morrison's bag, so...
Morrison's bag?
Yeah.
I'm shocked.
That's where I did my
Absolutely
shopping
shocked.
yesterday.
I was actually quite hurt by the fact that you didn't send me a card or anything.
Well, I know. No, funny you should say that. Funny you should say that. Do you know how many birthday cards are sent today compared to 10 years ago?
Probably not as many.
25%.
Really?
Because people now send emails,
well, you didn't
texts...
send me one 10 years ago either.
No, of course I didn't, no. And all these...
Well, it took you until about 9 o'clock last night to wish me a happy birthday.
Well, yeah, it did, I agree. But they send all these stupid little mojo things now, with stupid faces on and all that kind of stuff.
Emojis,
what are they called?
Emojis.
Emojis, that's right, yeah. And the actual... Funny enough, it was my nephew's birthday last week. And about 2 days after I sent him cards with money in them, excuse me, if you're going to take a picture, don't you think I should be in the picture with them as well?
Would you like to be holding them?
Yeah.
Right, well, you hold them then.
Okay. It's got my name on the front there, see?
Well, now you can't see the headphones, we can see you.
Yeah, well, you can see the headphones, can't
I'm
you?
going to take another picture of the headphones.
Well, yeah, I'll do them at a different angle, if you like.
Different angles. There, that's better. Yeah, there you go. Now you're obscuring your face, which is not so good. Okay, there we go. Good.
How's that?
I'll tweet that out.
Right, okay. In fact, you should be in the picture, shouldn't you?
No.
Maybe our producer should have taken this picture.
No,
and
I don't want
to be.
I'm taking a picture of you giving me these headphones.
Well, that's what I mean, but I haven't, you should be in the picture receiving them.
No, I don't need to be. No, I don't need to be.
Anyway, I was telling you about my nephew's whose birthday it was last week.
Right.
So
you sent him 25 quid?
I sent him 50 quid, actually,
50?
in two different
Did he
cards. 25 in each card.
Right.
Well, this is the whole point. So 2 days later, I hadn't heard, that's a bit odd, She'd like to know that the money's arrived.
Yeah.
So I rang him. Oh, hi, Tom. Oh, hello, mate. Yeah, I said, how's things?
Don't give his name away.
Sorry?
Don't give his name away.
No. Yeah, he said, fine. Yeah. I said, look, not checking up on anything like that, but did you get my cards? He said, I'm sorry, I don't know. I said, why? He said, well, I only go down to my post box once a week because nobody ever sends me any mail these days, and I don't send any mail to anybody else. Right. I only check it once a week.
Doesn't he get bills or something?
So, yeah, well, I don't know. So I said, yeah, but it's your birthday. Wouldn't you expect a load of birthday cards? He said, who from? I said, well, your friend. He said, no, they all sent me emails and texts and all that kind of stuff. He said, I said, well, surely you thought you'd get one from your mum and your aunties and all that kind of stuff. I got one from my mother. Yeah. And he said, yeah, you're right. I'll go down and check it and see what's there. Yeah. But, it's like these days, young people just don't think about post or
And I'm
mail.
the same, even though I'm not that young.
Yeah.
I mean, I got cards for the kids, I got cards for the family, but I didn't really get cards from anybody else. But
yeah, absolutely.
I was hoping that something might have been delivered or, something in the middle of the day, but nothing.
Well, I've just given you a present now, so I just made up
some crappy headphones.
Oh, come on, that's a bit harsh.
They are crappy old headphones.
These are artefacts. I tell you what, mate, these are going to auction very soon.
Will they?
I'll tell you.
And not until after you've passed on, as I said.
could, one of these days I'll soon be described as an icon.
Yeah, you will. But in death, though.
Well, no, I don't think so in death. And, I'm rather distressed at your dismissive response to what is a part of my life.
Well, it's always about you, though. I mean, you give me something that's yours.
Yeah.
I think I'd rather have had a signed photograph of you or something.
Well,
maybe,
I tried to give you the portrait, didn't I? You didn't want that.
No, I didn't
take
want that
home. So, what more can I do? All I'm trying to do is if people come and visit your house, then I'm happy for you to bathe in my reflected glory by having my headphones there, you see?
Yeah, it's very kind.
Yeah?
I might be able to lure somebody back there and say, by the way, do you want to come back and see a old pair of Mike Parry's headphones?
Yeah, that's right. I thought about
like
that.
the etchings.
Yeah.
You did, didn't you? You actually think that would be some kind of a draw?
Well, I can imagine. I can imagine. That.
See the time, by the way.
Well, don't worry about the time, mate. When we're discussing radio history, I mean, you don't need to worry about time, do you?
It's not exactly Marconi's first, transmitter, is it?
Well, I mean, it's a valuable artefact, and I'll tell you something. I bet you the Radio Academy or something like that would like to have these.
Yeah, I bet they would.
Yeah, for their museum.
Oh, maybe we could get somebody out on Twitter to value it. I was just about to send a picture out of Porky holding his old headphones.
Exactly.
Maybe you'd like to make an offer.
Headphones now.
Maybe you'd like to make an offer for them, and we could generate some money for charity.
Yeah.
That'd be great. This is Talk Sport. We are the two mics, and more coming up. This is Talk Sport. We are the two mics. We've got loads of football to discuss. Manchester City appear to be the team to watch at the moment. We'll be talking about that with Mr. Parry in a moment. I've got another present here, actually, that I got, which is my favourite present of the weekend. You might see it here. It's a very nice DuPont lighter.
Oh, yeah. Who's that from?
It was from my daughter and her fiancé.
And
they've engraved it. You're right. Porky's now just hit himself with his new headphones as opposed to the old ones. I have just tweeted out a picture of the headphones, by the way. Look at that. It's a very nice, electronic.
Rather nice, isn't it?
Isn't that nice?
Do you know the only thing that I object to about lighters?
What's that?
Well, I mean, look, Emma's done this out of, the love in her heart for you as your daughter.
Yeah.
But it does actually perpetuate your smoking habit. Now, is that a good thing?
Well, I mean...
Is that a good thing for a daughter to do to her father?
I'm not sure if it's a question of perpetuating a habit. I mean, the habit is a habit, you might as well say by buying me a bottle of champagne, it perpetuates the habit of drinking.
Yeah, but drinking's good habit. And,
well, not if you overindulge.
Well, you don't overindulge. You shouldn't overindulge.
Well, you shouldn't. But
smoking is a bad habit to any extent at all.
I think it's a lovely lighter. I'm very touched by that.
It is very nice indeed, I agree.
When I put it next to your headphones, there's not much of a competition, really, is there?
Well, it's not a competition, is it? Is it a competition who can buy you the best present?
No,
is that what it is? Is that what we regard a birthday?
No, I'm not saying
I regard a birthday as a Christian renewal of the day of your birth, if you see what I mean. What are you laughing at?
A Christian renewal of the day of my birth?
Yeah.
Well, did you go to church on my behalf then yesterday?
No, I didn't actually.
You didn't make it to church?
No.
When was the last time you were in church?
Well, last time I talked about church was this morning on another radio programme.
Oh, yeah, I saw that you were on the old Jeremy Vine show.
I had to talk about Calais and the church over there. And I
Is he going to be in Strictly, by the way?
Sorry?
Isn't he going to be in
Strictly?
Yes,
he is.
Is he given up being a serious journalist now, then?
Well, that's a bit harsh. Lots of serious people do it.
No, serious journalists do not go on Strictly.
Oh, no, I don't agree.
Well, when was the last serious journalist who went on Strictly?
I can't answer that one, but if they asked me to go, I'd go. And I'm a serious journalist. Yes, I am.
No, you've given it all up.
No, that's rubbish.
I can't believe they wheeled you out as an expert on Calais.
Yeah, well, they did, yeah. Because...
I mean, so that's now what? Calais?
Yeah.
Obesity?
What was
the other one that you were an expert on?
Well, quite a few things on the Jeremy
almost
show.
anything.
Yeah,
well, as somebody once tweeted out last time you were on, imagine the production meeting at Radio 2.
Yeah.
We need an expert on Calais and immigration. We can't find anyone. Let's give Parry a call. He'll come on.
No, I think you'll find...
What did you say, anyway?
I think you'll find that I was first choice for that one.
Really?
Well, what I said instead of...
This was the whole Songs of Praise nonsense.
Songs of Praise, which, of course, is part of the BBC, so it's all a bit odd, really, that it's all on a BBC programme about a controversial BBC issue.
Yeah.
But I said, instead of taking all this, paraphernalia to Calais to set up Songs of Praise in a makeshift church, full of poor Eritrean people who are seeking a new life, I would prefer them to do it on the top of a lorry on the M20,
where drivers are all sitting there.
Yeah, where drivers have been stranded for 5 days, with their loads rotting in their holds, with lorries being broken into by illegal immigrants, with the fines that
I passed the usual sign on the M25 tonight coming up from the south saying,
stacking.
Operation Stack in progress, M20 closed between junctions 1 and 3. Yeah. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's
Is it closed again? I thought it had all been cleared up now.
No, it's closed. It's a sign tonight said closed between junctions 1 and 3.
I see the street outside our offices.
They finally opened it. Have you seen what they've done though?
They've built a tennis court.
No, they've built a one-way kind of, where the traffic flow. Yeah, they built a chicane.
Have they?
That's what they've built. So
is it a one-way street yet?
So it's not a one-way street, but what's now happening is if you're coming from the south to the north, you have to give you have priority. If you're going from north to south, you have to stop.
Unbelievable.
So they basically built outside, just beyond the tennis courts, they built a big curb into the middle of the road to make the road half as wide.
What have they done that for?
Well, I presume to slow the traffic down.
Well, how ridiculous. It's not a fast road.
Despite the fact that they've already got about 8 speed bumps.
That's right, yeah.
In the space of 100 yards.
It's not a fast road.
Incredible.
Ridiculous.
I've got a story to tell you actually about something that happened to me on Friday, but let me read you some tweets out first.
Okay.
William says this at the two mics. Very wise MG, following Porky's example, not accepting food. You never know if a syringe has been inserted into
that's
food.
true. That's absolutely true.
Roy
I totally agree.
Classic Porky steals headphones, then gives them away. Does he have a display of stolen goods at the Black Museum? I mean, have you taken anything else from TalkSport Towers?
No.
Here's one from Becky who says, Porky made the effort like a husband who comes home with a card, flowers and chocolates from the local petrol station.
Well, I always buy flowers at petrol stations, actually. It's the most convenient place to buy them.
Yeah,
Except that sometimes they smell of diesel, which is a bit off-putting.
That is a bit difficult,
yeah.
James says this, great present and great for the winner of the Predictor.
Yeah.
And then here's one from Chris who says, I wouldn't trust anything Porky Parry gave you. You should give them away as a prize.
Well, yes, well, we can think about that. But, I mean, the point is, what I really find a little bit objectionable is the fact that you dismiss my gesture. It's not the present. Isn't it all about the thought that counts? Have we lost that? Have we lost that over the years?
It would be all about the thought that counts if you'd given it to me either before my birthday or actually on my birthday.
Well, I didn't know it was your birthday.
Yeah, we talked about it last week.
Well, we did, I know, but I mean, I didn't want to make a big fuss. So I'm just wrapping this back up again.
There's
Don't get marked.
somebody called Luigi. He says, I'll give you $5,000 to send the headphones to us in Australia.
Oh, yeah? Really?
Well, I might take you up on that.
Well, 5,000 Aussie dollars.
Doesn't matter.
That's £2,500. Well, that's not bad.
Well, that's all right, isn't it?
It's not bad, yeah.
And then here's one from Jason. He says, I will offer you 50p for it. If you throw in a bestseller from Mike Parry, I'll make it 52p.
Oh, that's very kind, isn't it? Yeah. People are taking the mickey now, since because you set them up again, as you always do.
Not at all. Robert says, Porky, I'm unbelievable. I'm surprised you didn't try to give MG his old man's paintings that you had so callously dumped in your flat.
No, I haven't dumped them at all. They're on the wall of the flat, which is currently occupied by a very decent gentleman, an Egyptian doctor.
An Egyptian doctor, yeah. And Sean says, the Smithsonian Museum want the headphones, putting them next to the Spirit of St. Louis.
Yeah, that's right. You could in the Smithsonian, maybe.
And Stephen says, I've got an old Walkman that doesn't work to go with them for you.
Actually, I've got an old Walkman that doesn't work as well.
Yeah.
It's a bit of an
maybe you can give me that for Christmas.
It's a Sony Walkman and it's yellow.
Well, they're all Sony Walkmans, aren't they?
Yeah, but,
that's what it's called. That was the name of the thing. It was
yellow box
Sony
that you
Walkman.
clipped on your belt and put headphones in. And do you know what? They were... What are you laughing at? What's your problem?
Just your description of a yellow box.
Well, it is.
Like a magic box.
No, it's a little yellow box.
Music came out of it.
Little yellow box.
You are like one of those guys from the old movies, aren't you?
No.
They fired in the jungle.
No.
You know, it's 50 years after the wars ended.
No.
And they wave this thing at you and go, look at this, yellow box.
No.
Makes music.
Talking about movies, we're going to talk to somebody from America tonight about Shaun the Sheep.
That's right, yeah. Apparently it's taken off in a big way.
Absolutely taken off. Now,
listen. We're not talking about Manchester City. We haven't talked about the Predictor.
Okay.
We haven't talked about winners and losers. We got a whole new edition of
Who
winners
scored
and losers.
for Manchester City, though?
Well, I mean, Yaya Toure, back on form, right? Scores 2 goals, right? Vincent Kompany scores the other one.
Yeah.
And they look to me...
So who didn't score, then?
Oh, what, Raheem Sterling didn't score? Well, he was also substituted.
I know that.
That doesn't matter.
But he had 2 great chances to score.
He did.
And I said that he won't score 5 Premier League goals this season.
Well, he's only scored 4.
I'm on track.
What do you mean you're on track?
Well, I'm on track. He didn't score in his first game.
Well, there's plenty more games to go.
Yeah, okay.
How many games left?
How
many games left? 37?
37. He had 2 outstanding chances, though.
Yeah, well, he'll get those chances.
I thought they were outstanding chances,
but the point is, and this is what people have said, he will get those chances, right? And he will get more chances playing for Manchester City than he ever would play for Liverpool.
Yeah.
And so, I would say that for him, it was a pretty good start.
Yeah.
He didn't, set the world
on fire.
I thought
City looked good.
I thought they looked the best of any team I saw all weekend.
Yeah, I totally agree.
And isn't it funny that all anybody was talking about before this weekend was Arsenal. This is the year they're going to win the Premier League. Couldn't even beat West Ham.
Yes.
Manchester United.
Well, you see, that's dismissive. Couldn't even beat West Ham. West Ham was so bold, and the introduction of Reece Oxford, that 16-year-old boy, is absolutely outstanding. He's absolutely outstanding. I mean, I'm not a football expert, but I spoke to people who are, and they said they couldn't believe the assuredness that the boy had at his young age of 16. He's English, of course. He's from Edmonton, which is Spurs territory. West Ham picked him up, and he's bound to be a future England player.
Aren't they trying to bring in Joey Bartley, who would then replace him, though?
No, Joey Barton wouldn't replace him. This lad is a classic holding midfielder.
Oh, yeah.
Joey Barton's not really a holding midfielder.
Well, some people don't think Joey Barton's worth signing.
Well, I know.
After what Mr. Gold said about him.
Yes, that's right. A couple of years ago was that. Joey Barton is what I'd call like a nuisance. He's a bit of a Robbie Savage, isn't he? He gets in amongst them and makes himself a nuisance and destabilises the opposition. But he's not a man who can stand in front of the back four and defend them like young Reece Oxford at 6'3" did.
No, quite.
Terrific.
But we've got lots to talk about because
we have.
In fact, coming up, we've got Adrian Heath joining us, a former Everton.
I'm great Adrian's on tonight. One thing we will be able to ask him about is Leighton Baines' new ankle injury. He's out for 12 weeks.
Is he?
Yeah, he's out for 12 weeks.
That's
and he hasn't played since his last ankle operation, and it looks like he's now got to have another one. Same ankle, yeah. And it looks like he's got to have another one, which is very, very worrying.
See, I think if Leighton Baines had done the right thing and moved to Manchester United when he had the opportunity, things might be very different for him.
Why? Why would it be
Because I think he would have moved up a level, and I'm not being insulting to
fans. How would that have saved his ankle problem?
I just think that, he's had a history. He's now had a problem with injuries. I'm not saying he wouldn't have had a bad ankle.
Well, I think this is a very stupid analysis because it doesn't matter what colour shirt you've got on your back. If your ankle goes, your ankle goes.
Yeah, but he's out for 12 weeks, right? He'll come back into a team that will be sitting mid-table. He won't really have any ambition. He won't really have anything to go for.
Rubbish.
And instead, had he gone to Manchester United, he could have had a first team shot. He could have been playing for something.
Playing for
top four.
I
just think he might have thrown his career away by staying where he was, by having no ambition. And normally you would attack people for having no ambition.
No, it's rubbish and nonsense. That is
rubbish and nonsense.
Rubbish and nonsense. Yeah, sure. There were some pluses in the Everton game, but we'll talk to. Well, that's true. I mean, that could have been a disaster, actually. Yeah. But I always said, and I repeated this too, and it reflected in my Serco prediction.
Your what predictor?
What was it?
Selco,
yeah. In my who's Serco?
I don't know, but maybe that's why you got no points. Yeah, maybe, you got the name of the company wrong.
I said that Everton would win 2-1. I was very modest about it. In fact, it was 2-2, and the worst thing would have been to have lost.
I correctly predicted a draw, which is one of the reasons I'm second.
What score did you predict?
I predicted 1-1, I think.
Yeah, well, you got it wrong, didn't you?
No, I didn't. I get points for getting a draw.
And what I was going to say is that, of course, the massive disappointment of the weekend was Arsenal, but when Arsene Wenger decides that Theo Walcott is, after all, worth £110,000 a week and gives him a new improved contract...
Yeah.
No, 140, isn't it? £140,000 a week, I'm sorry, on an improved contract of 50 grand a week, and then decides not to play him, what do you expect to happen? What on earth do you expect to happen, honestly? Theo Walcott's the best they've got, and yet he still starts him on the bench and brings him on 2/3 of the way through the game with the expectation that he'll pull back a 2-goal deficit and win it for them. And it ain't going to work. He tried that all last season. It's silly. It's really silly, in my view.
But what I find astonishing is that, this was a guy who supposedly had transformed Arsenal into this title-winning side.
Yes.
And they didn't look any better. In fact, they looked worse than they looked at the end of last season.
I totally agree, they did. They looked shocking. By the way, did you see Mr. Pellegrini after the game tonight?
I did.
Very bloodshot eyes.
Yeah.
And now, is that a trait of his, these bloodshot eyes?
I don't know, really.
Might be the fact that he doesn't get enough sleep. And the other thing I noticed...
we can talk about that later.
And the other thing I noticed is vitally important... His shirt was too big for him.
You think?
Yeah.
Well, your shirt's too big for you.
No, don't be ridiculous.
It is.
His shirt was too big for him because he had it fastened, the top button round his collar, and there's at least an inch between his neck and the shirt.
Right.
And that, to me, is a sign of... a man who's not altogether comfortable in his own skin. Because when you wear a shirt with anybody who can... Hang on a sec. Anybody who can fasten their collar button around their neck has got something wrong, in my view.
What, you mean I shouldn't be able to?
No, you shouldn't be able to, no.
What a bizarre thing to say.
I don't know what you're laughing at.
Adrian Heath's coming up.
I can explain that,
Well,
by the way.
explain it later, because we're out of time. Yeah. We're already running late. We've only been going half an hour. This is Talk Sport. We are the two mics.
Yeah. Talk Sport.
And it's in!
A diving header at the end of a 50-yard run.
From the root to the tip.
Talk Sport.
It's Talk Sport. We are the two Mikes. There will be a podcast coming out a little bit later on. There's winners and losers as well. We've also got the Predictor, the Selco Predictor, first weekend. I bizarrely came out very much on top on Saturday. I was top of our own mini-league here at Talk Sport. I'm in second place in the overall Talk Sport Presenters League. Porky Parry, unfortunately, is down in ninth position with 0 points.
Yeah, but that's because they give you negative points for getting ones wrong, as well as positive points for getting them right.
Well, we'll go through them
So
in
if
a
you're
little
bold
while.
and ambitious like me and you take a punt or a chance on something, you get penalised.
Yeah. Well, I got lots of points for actually predicting that Everton and Watford would draw, to be honest. You obviously thought Everton would win.
He only did that to try and wind me up.
Well, it seems to have worked, but I was correct because they did draw with Watford. Tough game. We're going to talk to Adrian Heath now, Orlando City's manager, former Everton player and Manchester City as well. First weekend of the Premier League. Very exciting stuff. Adrian, a very good morning to you. Welcome.
How are you doing, fellas?
Yeah, very well indeed. What did you make of the Everton performance? Porky here says it's always difficult to play a team that have just come up from the Championship on the first day of the season.
I think it is.
Yeah, it's never easy because obviously the newness for the club coming up and the excitement with everything that goes on it, and it's a bit of a no-win situation. But in the cold light of day, looking at the game, it wasn't a great performance from Everton, and he's certainly going to have to get better if they want to get to a season where they were a couple of years ago.
Yeah. I mean, I tell you what, Adrian, it'd be a bit of a worry if he lost John Stones, wouldn't it? Particularly as we've just heard today that Leighton Baines now could be out for 3 months. He needs another operation on the ankle that was operated on 3 months ago. It doesn't sound good.
No, it doesn't, Mike. And I think one of the things, Mike, is that because we know the financial sort of restrictions within the club, that we can't afford to have our best players not on the field. And Leighton Baines has been arguably the most consistent player for the last 4 or 5 years. And, obviously the Stones thing's a worry. The worry for me, Mike, and I've got to be honest, is that, Romelu Lukaku's worrying me because I just think that if Everton are going to get back to where they were a couple of years ago, he's going to have to play like he did the year he came on loan.
Yes.
And not like he's playing at this moment in time. I worry a little bit about his body language. I just look at him and, you just want to shake him up a little bit and go, come on, let's liven up. For a guy who's as big and as strong and as powerful and athletic as he is, he just seems a little bit placid at times.
No, I totally agree with you. Just moving away from Everton there to bring it right up to date, Adrian. Don't know if you saw the Manchester City game tonight, but Mike Graham and I were just saying of all the teams we've seen this weekend, they looked like the front runners, really, the best contenders.
Well, they certainly hit the ground running, I think, more than any of the big boys. Chelsea stuttered a little bit, didn't they? And I don't think Liverpool were particularly good at Stoke, and Man United, they scored the sort of own goal against the run of play. Spurs were probably in control the first 20 minutes. The one thing about City is they've got the probably biggest and most balanced squad. I think that they're still going to need Aguero for the big games, not Boney. I think Boney will be good enough against three-quarters of the league, but when it comes to the big games against the Chelseas, Man United, Arsenal, Liverpool's, then I think they're going to need Aguero to come up with his usual 20, 25 goals.
Definitely.
And what did you make of Sterling's sort of official debut? He was substituted, but he played all right. He missed a couple of chances, but, I mean, does it look to you like he's going to fit in all right there?
I think, whatever we say, and I think we're all a little bit cloudy with our opinion of him because of the way that he handled the situation. But the kid can play. I don't think there's anybody who can deny that the kid's got extreme talent and is going to be a top-draw player. Certainly for England, we're going to need him over the next few years anyway. I just think that, obviously, the price tag is the going rate for good young English players. 49 million for an offensive player. We're talking about Everton getting 35 million for a centre-back. So it's the going rate. It's what you have to pay. And, I think for England's sake, we all need Sterling to settle down and get on with playing football because the kid does have the talent.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Now, another story that's on the back pages this morning, which might surprise you, Adrian, is Jerry Barton is apparently being looked at by West Ham, and there's a pretty good chance that he might sign for them. This is despite something that David Gold said about him some years ago, which wasn't particularly complimentary. I mean, is Jerry Barton one of these players that's just always going to get a game, no matter what he does, no matter where he goes, no matter how much trouble he gets in? I mean, maybe you could rescue us from Jerry Barton itis and hire him for the Orlando team.
I don't know if Joey would get in America, Mike. That problem with his off the field.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
I think one of the things with Joey, and I don't think people can dispute the kid can play. You know, it's obviously a lot of the stuff that goes around him, but I'm sure that Slaven Bilic thinks he can sort of control him, and, you know, it's probably one of the last big moves that Joey's going to get, because obviously it's a huge year for West Ham, big club, next year going into the Olympic Stadium, so it could be, you know, a really good move for everybody.
I'll tell you what was really, really nice about the weekend, Adrian. You will remember it, having been a boy starlet yourself. Reece Oxford, 16 years of age, debut for West Ham at Arsenal, winning 2-0. Had an exemplary game, according to all the football experts I've been listening to over the weekend, and looked just the part, even though he's only 16, but is 6'3" tall.
Yeah, I think it's great when you see a young kid come on. A little bit like we saw Sterling come on, we saw Wayne come on at Everton, you know, and then we saw, obviously, got Porky come on. There's still nothing better than when, especially when it's come through the ranks of your own club, you get a young player that you think, here we go, we've got another one. And, you know, obviously West Ham have produced so many over the last sort of 10, 15 years. It's hopefully another one that is going to go on and play for England like a lot of the others did.
Absolutely.
And talking about that West Ham game, I mean, Arsenal were getting so hyped up before the season started that, you know, this was going to be the year for Arsene Wenger. You know, they might bring in Karim Benzema, they might not, but basically they're going to be challenging for the title. I mean, they looked very flat, didn't they?
Well, they did, and obviously conceded a poor goal, the first one. Obviously, even Czech's come out and said he made a mistake. But, you know, in the Premier League, when you're at home and you go goal down, at times it's difficult against teams. You know, it's the first game for Bilic. West Ham, you know, got the hype going, a London derby. I just think it's also another indication that even the best teams, if you don't play at your best, there's only 2 or 3 teams, I think, that can win in the Premier League without playing at the best.
Yeah, indeed. Adrian, the other thing is, you just mentioned there Ross Barkley. Ross Barkley's going to be another target for other clubs, isn't he, if Everton can't sort of provide that sort of platform that he needs to promote his England career.
Well, he is, you know, and it's a bit like Stones now, and it's a bit like all the others who've gone over the time, you know, whether it be Wayne, whether it be Rodwell, whether it be Jeffers, you know, the list's a mile long.
Yeah.
But the thing is, Mike, and I know, you know, it's something that obviously people like me and you have spoken about over the years because of our ownership. Yeah. Me personally, I prefer to have Bill Kenwright in charge than to sell to anybody.
Oh, yeah, I totally agree.
You know, I look at the mess that a lot of clubs have gone in with all these foreign owners.
Yeah.
And the one thing that we do know, we've got an ownership who actually loves our club. And me personally, I understand that, and I've spoken to Bill about this. If we could get somebody like an Abramovich, I think Bill would be the first one to say, hey, come on, you can come on and take us to the next level. But until we get one of them, I'm happy to sit with Bill Kenwright, and hopefully we have to go along with what goes with the territory of it. If we produce really top-draw players, eventually they go.
I totally agree, Adrian. The point is, Mr. Kenwright regards himself as the custodian of our club, not just the owner. He owns it because he doesn't want anybody else who's going to destroy our club to take possession. And he looks around and he sees what happened at Portsmouth, he sees what happened at Leeds United, to a certain extent Newcastle, and he says, no, not until I'm convinced the right person's going to come in and look after it like I did. And do you
want it any other way, Mike?
No, I wouldn't want it any other way at all. I'm totally with you. And unfortunately, I spend a lot of my time trying to convince people who get aerated about this that we can't go and borrow £200 or £300 million we haven't got. Otherwise, we'll plunge the club into terrible trouble, and you can't do that.
You just mentioned it. We'll end up like some of the others.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, I feel for the people like Portsmouth. What a great club that is. Look at the state they're in.
Yes, exactly.
You know?
Totally agree. Totally agree.
You look at them, and you look at one or two of the others. And I look at Birmingham with that Carson Young thing. No, exactly. I'll stick with Bill Kenwright any day of the week.
And me.
Adrian, let me just ask you one last question. How are things going at Orlando City? And what did you make of that rather bizarre happening up in New Jersey between the fans of the New York Red Bulls and New York City FC, pretending that they were some kind of retro throwback to 1970s hooligans,
it was,
you know?
It's obviously had big news here, Mike, because it's something that's always been perceived to be an English or certainly a European sort of disease, if you like, the crowd trouble. But so it's been plenty of news. The one great thing for me over the weekend was the New York game was like a proper derby. It was no different than any derby at home. So it just goes to show that the rivalries are building. From our own point of view, hopefully we've come through the worst of the injuries now. We've got a few players back fit. We're still in the thick of the playoff hunt. You know, there's only 2 teams done it in the last 20 years, and their first year made the playoffs. So I think we'll take it down to the final few games, and we're still confident we can get there.
Right. Brilliant stuff.
Excellent.
Well, Adrian, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us.
Thanks, Adrian. Always good to talk to you.
Adrian Heath with some interesting things to say about Everton.
Yep.
Shares your view on many things on the Everton front. Currently the boss of Orlando City over in MLS is still in the playoffs. Very weird that fighting scenario up in New York, but we'll talk about that a little bit later on.
Absolutely,
I've got some more tales of the weekend to say, and we're going to look at the Selco Predictor coming up next on TalkSport.
Okay.
TalkSport, we are the two Mikes, and of course, coming up, it's going to be the new edition of Winners and Losers. No particular difference to the new Winners and Losers competition, except for the fact that we start at 0-0. So you've got an opportunity for the first time to go into the lead after today, if your winners are any good and your losers are any good. But let's talk about the Selco Predictor, because that kicked off this weekend. And we started our own little mini-league. And if you follow us on Twitter, at Mike Parry, at IROMG, if you haven't joined in yet, you can join in the mini-league. I believe I'm in somewhere like 9th position, I think, on the mini-league. But you're somewhere way down the league, I'm afraid to say. But
how many people are in this league?
I'm not sure, actually.
Are they all just TalkSport people?
Yeah, they're people that listen to the show who want to be part of our mini-league.
I started off with a brilliant result because I got 30 points for United Tottenham, 1-0.
Yeah, well, I got that as well. I got 30 points as well, even though I said it was going to be 2-1.
Yeah.
But the problem is that you get minus points now, as it started last year.
Well, hang on. Do you get points for exact scores?
You should do, yeah. But you get more for an exact score than you do for a correct result. But also there is the two chips that you can use. I don't know whether you made use of. You could use like the dollar chip or the green chip. And the dollar chip is the one that you're the most sure of. And then if you get that,
well, nobody told me about this. I didn't put my dollar chip into any of my results.
Why not?
Well, nobody told me there was a dollar chip.
Nobody told you.
You didn't tell me.
Well, it's not up to me to tell you.
Well, somebody's got to tell me the rules of the game.
I don't understand the way it works.
Well, where did you put your dollar chip?
I put my dollar chip on Man United beating Tottenham.
Yeah, well, you see, nobody told me about this.
For that. Well, why don't you know?
Actually, you idiot, you've given me your results and put my name on the top of them.
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about this. Look at it.
I haven't given you anything.
You complete idiot.
No, this is yours.
No, it's not.
You've got Man United Tottenham 1-0.
No, I had 2-1. This is the original sheet from the other night. Look, I'm waving in my arm now.
Well, I don't know. I was given this by my able assistant.
Oh, really? Well,
department.
Some clothhead is in charge of things tonight, let me tell you that.
So what, you think this is wrong then?
Of course it's wrong.
No, it's not, because there's plus 30, minus 10, minus 10.
What score is Watford-Everton on there?
Watford-Everton on here is 2-2.
Exactly.
Well, that's the correct score.
Yes, but I said 2-1.
Well, it doesn't matter what you've said. This is these are the correct scores and what you scored.
Oh, I see.
So it is in fact yours.
Oh, well, hang on. Well, where are your predictions then?
My predictions are in front of me on my screen. Would you like me to read them out to you?
No.
I predicted Manchester United 2, Tottenham 1, for which I got 30 points.
Yeah, and I predicted that as well.
I then predicted Bournemouth 2, Aston Villa 0, which was minus 10 for me.
Yeah.
I got Everton 1, Watford 1, for which I got 20 points, because I'd also made that the one that I was the least sure of.
Oh, your green chip.
I then had Leicester 2, Sunderland 0, therefore got another 15 for that. Norwich against Crystal Palace, I got that 2-1 to Crystal Palace, I got 10 points for that.
I got that absolutely right. Norwich 1, Crystal Palace 3.
Well, it was about the only other one you got right, wasn't it?
Yeah, but hang on, they've given me minus 10.
Well, you shouldn't get minus 10 for that.
Well, exactly. What's all that all about? Look, that says, you have a look there. Norwich City 1, Crystal Palace 3, right?
Right.
A precise and accurate score. Why have I got minus 10 points?
I've no idea.
Somebody's gerrymandered it.
Well, I don't know.
Somebody's gerrymandered it.
Well, if you weren't so inept, you could put your own scores in on your computer, right? And then and I'll tell you, why don't you do that this week, right? Why don't you do that on Thursday night? We'll set you up on the computer outside. You can put your own scores in. That way there can be no accusations at all. Okay. The other one that I did well on was Chelsea-Swansea, because I predicted that would be a draw, albeit a 1-1 draw.
Right.
And I got 20 points for that.
Right.
I got the West Ham-Arsenal score wrong, as I think most people did. And I got the Newcastle-Southampton score wrong. I thought that would be a win for Southampton. And I got the Liverpool score wrong. But I then got the West Brom-Manchester City score almost completely correct.
Yeah, and me.
So anyway, I've ended up with 55
points. But why did
points.
I get minus 10 for that? West Brom, Man City. I put West Brom 1, Man City 3. That was almost entirely right.
Well, I don't know.
And I've got minus 10 points. I don't understand it.
I've no idea.
Somebody's gerrymandered all this.
Well, the good news is, though, even though you've only got 0 points, in the TalkSport Presenters League, you're actually not bottom. Because there are people who have got even worse scores than you.
Oh, yeah?
Like Mickey Quinn.
Oh, really?
I think it's about -90 or something.
Is he? Oh, yeah, well, that doesn't surprise me.
So you've got a long way to go.
Oh, dear, I don't understand it all. I don't understand why I'd give me all the wrong number of points, you know? It's not fair.
I've got your actual predictions here, right?
Yeah.
Which are the ones as they appeared.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's see. Which ones are you claiming are wrong?
Well, I'm saying that I got the exact result for Norwich 1, Crystal Palace 3. Did I not?
Norwich 1... no, you got 1-1 here.
What?
You got 1-1.
No, that's rubbish.
You got 1-1 here.
No.
Well, these are your scores.
No, they're not.
As they were entered on the computer. Well, you're showing me a load of...
I'm showing you the sheet you gave me the other night.
I didn't give you any sheet the other night.
You did?
No.
When we did these on Friday, that was what was printed out and given to me, and I filled them in.
I didn't give it to you.
Well, somebody did.
Well, somebody else did.
And I've filled in my scores.
Well, you might have changed them between...
I haven't changed them. Somebody's gerrymandered all this. I'm telling you. It's an outrage.
Well, why would it be entered as under your name, Norwich 1, Crystal Palace 1?
I've no idea, because I didn't predict that. Well, I predicted Norwich 1, Crystal Palace 3.
You've had that piece of paper all weekend. You might have just changed it by yourself.
I have not changed it because there are no changes. Look, there's nothing crossed out. These are the original scores.
Well, I didn't see you filling that in.
I filled it in on the night we did them.
Well, let's check against what I've got here, right?
Right.
From the top.
Go on.
You've got Manchester United 1, Spurs 0.
No, I've got Manchester United 2, Tottenham 1.
OK. Well, I think you've got the wrong... I think you're writing mine down there. I think that's what you're doing.
I'm not. I'm telling you.
Bournemouth against Aston Villa, you've got 2-1.
I've got 1-0.
You see, I think you're writing mine down there.
I'm not.
Everton against Watford, you got 2-0.
I've got 2-1. Everton 2, Watford 1.
Well, how did these get entered completely incorrectly?
I've no idea, because they can't be yours, because you said 2-2.
Yeah, Leicester against Sunderland, you've got 1-0 to Leicester.
I've got Leicester 1, Sunderland 2, which is more wrong than that result. Isn't it?
And then here's the next one is Norwich Crystal Palace, says here 1-1.
No, Norwich 1, Palace 3.
All right. Next one is Chelsea. You've got them winning 2-0 against Swansea.
No, 3-0. Chelsea 3, Swansea 0.
OK. Arsenal 2, West Ham United 0.
No, Arsenal 3, West Ham 0.
Well, so whose are these then?
I've no idea, but they're not mine.
You've got Newcastle Southampton 1-1.
No, I've got Newcastle 1, Southampton 2.
And you've got Stoke 2, Liverpool 1.
No, I've got Stoke 2, Liverpool 2. So I'm sorry, I don't know who those are, but they're not mine. None of them are right.
You've got West Brom against Man City.
None of them are right.
So who put these into the system?
I've no idea. I don't know.
That's all very odd, isn't it?
It's very odd indeed, but they're not mine.
Anyway.
So I'm taking absolutely no notice of this competition in future because somebody's entering all the wrong results. They're not my results.
Well, here's the only way, but I'm helping you here. What I'm going to say to you is on Thursday night, we'll set you up outside with a computer, and you set your own. You put your own scores in.
Okay.
And that way, because I honestly can't understand why they would be so wrong.
Well, I can't either.
It's absolutely nothing to do with me.
They are, I'm afraid.
But the good news is that I'm doing so well, so you probably want to congratulate me on behalf of the Two Mike show.
No, I don't.
I'm second in the overall presenters category.
No, because we discussed the results before we went on air, and I gave you a lot of tips and hints as to what might happen. Yes, we did.
No.
And you can't deny that. It's only because it's your birthday weekend that I felt generous towards you and gave you a few tips and that sort of stuff.
I don't remember that.
Oh, yeah, I did.
No.
Yeah.
Did you have any wagers, by the way? Not that we're encouraging betting, obviously.
Wagers the weekend?
Yeah.
No, I did not. No.
Okay.
No. I did not. Now,
let me tell you a little story about what happened to me on Friday morning.
Yeah, go on.
As I was driving down to Sussex, right, I always stop there's a petrol station on the Old Kent Road where I stop and get myself a cup of coffee, sometimes some petrol, sometimes a sausage roll, depending on how hungry I am. There's a very nice sausage roll.
Yes.
And anyway, I pulled into this petrol station. There were two massive coaches sitting there, right?
Yes.
One was on one side of the petrol pump. One was on the other side of the petrol pump.
This is down the Old Kent Road?
Down the Old Kent Road. You just past the Elephant Castle, right?
Oh, I know,
That's the way I head down towards the A2.
Yes.
Anyway, so I pull in, right, and there was nowhere to go around these two coaches. There's a couple of parking spots beyond them, but I couldn't get past. And so I thought, well, I'm not going to get petrol, I'll just get myself a coffee. So I parked the car sort of in between, if you like, behind the one of the petrol pumps, because they were both filling themselves up, being filled up with petrol. This woman appears out of the side of the right-hand side of the coach, and she had a sort of, I don't know if it was an Eastern European accent, but a European accent anyway. And she said, please do not park there. And I said, well, I'm terribly sorry. I said, there's nowhere else I can park. There's nowhere else for me to go. I can't park behind. There's no space. I can't get past the two coaches. I'm going to have to park there. She says, no, well, the thing is, if I move the coach, my coach will hit your car as it turns.
Yes.
And I said, well, I'm only going inside for 5 minutes. I'm just going to get a cup of coffee. There's nobody in there. I'll be right back out. She said, no, you must move your car. And I said, well, I'm terribly sorry. I said, I can't move the car. There's nowhere to move it to.
Yeah.
I'm only going to be a few minutes. And she said, in that case, I will hit your car.
Yeah.
And I went, OK, well, in this country we have insurance, and I will take a picture of you. I'll take a picture of your coach. I'll take a picture of your licence plate, and I'll send it to your employers, and I'll say you're threatening to hit my car.
What was the licence plate on the coaches?
It was a Stansted airport coach.
Right.
So it was a British coach.
I see, yeah.
Anyway, so I went inside, came out again. She was still filling the coach up.
Right.
So I said, I see you haven't had to move the coach then, and I'm leaving. And she just made a rude sign to me. And
she gave you the V sign?
She gave me the two fingers, yeah.
That's disgraceful. What nationality is this woman?
I don't know.
Should have been extradited.
Well, I don't know. She's probably European.
Yeah, but I mean, to make the...
You can't extradite people for giving you the two-fingered salute.
I tell you what, mate, if that happened to me, I'd call the cops or something. That's terrible.
Well, of course, what she didn't know was if she had scraped my car, I wouldn't have cared, because I don't care if you scrape my car, as I've said to you before.
Yeah, because it's a wreck anyway.
Well, yeah. But, I mean, the point is that I was quite appalled by this woman who said,
absolutely
well,
shocking.
I'm going to hit your car.
Absolutely shocking.
And I then had to reverse out and go back into the road actually through the wrong way.
Yes.
Because they'd blocked the whole petrol station. There was no way to get past it.
I didn't know that coaches pulled into ordinary service stations
I didn't know
and
either.
filled up with diesel.
No.
I've never seen that happen before.
And I mean, it must take a very long time because
exactly,
she was standing there for a good 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah, well, that's
extraordinary, wasn't it?
But what a very unfriendly sort of what's the word I'm looking for? Encounter you had with somebody.
Well, not a very nice way to start the day.
Well, and also, if you're in somebody else's country, it's always rather nice to be quite polite and friendly to the local native people, isn't it? Huh?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, not to threaten to sort of sideswipe their car as you're on your way out of the petrol station.
I thought it was very unfriendly. I'm surprised you were so restrained, actually.
Yeah, well,
particularly after she gave you the V sign.
Well, I was in such a good mood after the show that I'd done with you.
Yes, exactly.
Nothing could upset me.
Yeah, well, particularly as you knew that it was going to be another 3 days before you saw my face again. Yeah, absolutely. I know what you're saying.
Well,
I know what you're trying to say.
That's not what I was saying.
What are you trying to say?
That's not at all what I was saying.
Now, the other issue I need to discuss with you.
Yes.
What is it? I've forgotten. It's I know what it's about. It's about it's about the
what? Get on with it.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about Raheem Sterling at ball length.
Okay.
Because, this idea that he's going to be the £50 million boy...
Why didn't you ask Adrian Heath about him?
I did.
Well, you didn't really.
Well,
he moved off it very quickly.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, that wasn't the dominant...
He said he's clearly a very talented young player.
Yes.
You did not say, but I don't think he'll even score 5 goals for Manchester City. Because you know why? Because you didn't want to look foolish in front of Everton player.
No, that's not...
Because he would disagree with you.
That's not the case at all. It's not the case at all. And what I was going to say was, if he's hauled off after 67 or 70 minutes, which he was, I think that indicates in a huge way he is not a guaranteed starter, and therefore he's not a major linchpin in that Manchester City team.
No, I don't
it's
agree.
obvious. It's obvious.
I think Manuel Pellegrini, who's a lot smarter than people give him credit for, I think was sending him a message.
But
just saying to him, look,
yeah,
you can be substituted.
Yeah.
You've done all right, but we're going to take you off. And this way we will take the pressure off you a little bit, and we'll give you a dose of reality.
I'm sorry, mate, but he clearly is not one of the top 5 City players. You can tell it just by looking at him. He hasn't fitted in there yet, and I don't think he will.
Well, we shall see. This is TalkSport. We are the two mics. There will be a podcast coming out a little bit later on, of course, as well. Here's a couple of tweets that have come in. This is a text actually that's coming from Tomo, who's a Manchester City fan. He says, Mike, Silva was outstanding tonight, and Raheem Sterling was equally as good. Are you gutted Everton couldn't afford him? Also, do you think Everton are a selling club? Well, that's a bit sort of off the radar, really, at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm afraid that's that question is how long is a piece of string?
Yeah.
Every club is a selling club. You know that. De Gea might be going now because he didn't play on the weekend.
He was rested, wasn't he?
Exactly.
Very strange. And then here's one from Magoo, who says, Mike, if Porky was so kind to give you help and tips, did he do something completely different for himself? Hashtag backfired on the plank.
Mm-hmm. No.
And then here's one from JPK who says, extradited for a V sign. Welcome to Porky Jeong Parry's new regime.
Oh, yes?
Yeah.
Yes.
A bit like North Korea.
Yes, well, I know what you're saying. Listen, whilst you're reading those, that's good. Now, I've just come across tomorrow morning's Daily Mirror.
Oh, yeah.
And they've got the strongest story on the Joey Barton situation that you've been talking about, which says... Fan fury as Irons move for Barton. It's written by our old pal Darren Lewis.
Oh, yeah.
West Ham are ready to risk the wrath of supporters by pushing ahead with the move for free agent Joey Barton. It explains what's behind it all. And then it goes down to, and Matt Ryan, owner and editor of website claretandblues.com, said, if it happens, it could be... Here we go. It could be a disaster. We're trying to gel as a team, and we don't need the baggage that Barton brings with us. So
who's saying that?
The guy who runs the official website.
Oh, right.
You know, the official
one
fans
of the things,
website.
Whatever you say about Joey Barton and how disruptive or otherwise he might be, or how good or otherwise he might be, why would it upset the fans so much that you get something like that?
He says here in this story, it says, over the last few years, the East London club's fans celebrating Sunday's shock in Arsenal have been left stunned at news that boss Slaven Bilic has made a move for the controversial midfielder. Forums and social media were inundated yesterday with Iron fans fearing the effect Barton's signing could have. The former QPR star's a history of clashes with teammates, fans and media. Yeah. So it's nothing personal about, West Ham and all that. They're saying we think Joey Barton's a bit of an obnoxious individual.
And it's just about
I would have to say
that follows around.
Although I've had my differences with Joey in the past, I think he is a reformed character, and I don't think he brings a sort of poisonous atmosphere with him, to be honest. In fact, if anything, I think he's more of a peacemaker these days, more of a guy who looks at life philosophically.
Is he one of these guys that's press is worse than the reality, if you like, that people expect him to be?
No, I think he's done terrible things in the past. He'd admit that himself. That's not a problem there. But I do think that he has been on the road to Damascus, I think, and there have been revelatory changes in the way he approaches life. So, I mean, look, if there was any reason why you'd say we don't want Joey Barton at West Ham, I think it should be based purely on whether or not they think he can contribute to football-wise.
But that's the thing. I mean, he's not as good a footballer as he makes himself out to be.
Well, he's not as good these days. He's getting older.
Yeah.
So,
but that's what I mean. But he was never that good.
Well, he can actually call himself an England international because he came on in one substitute appearance for England. Yeah. So, from that point of view, that's quite a high level of achievement within your career, isn't it?
Yeah, I suppose so.
But
I'm told at the weekend he was commentating or sort of describing some of the action down at Bournemouth in the Aston Villa game, where he said apparently one of the things he said was that actually the best player on the pitch here is actually sitting in my seat. Making out that he was better than everybody else on the playing surface.
Well, I didn't hear him say that, but I mean, there's nothing wrong with having a bit of self-confidence, particularly if you're looking for a new club and all that sort of thing.
Yeah, but not if it's completely misplaced. I mean, clearly he isn't the best player on the pitch if he's not playing there. He's not a player that people are lining up to buy, are they?
Well,
I mean, you wouldn't want him at Everton, would you?
No, I wouldn't actually, no. A couple of years ago, I'd have said he could have fitted in, but to be honest, what worries me about a player like Joe at the moment is that he's actually searching for a club. Clubs are not searching for him.
Yeah, right.
So that has to give you some sort of perspective of at which stage his career is at
and
now.
Interesting, wasn't
it? And he's in the twilight of his career.
Interesting what Adrian Heath said, that he might have trouble getting into America because he's the kind of guy that would probably quite like to go and play in MLS. Yeah. And he might be quite well suited to it. But in fact, because of his previous conviction,
well, that's right,
he would find it difficult to get a work permit.
Yes, he might do. He might do indeed. Yeah. But it's interesting that he's always right at the centre of controversy, isn't he?
Yeah.
In fact, the back of the Sun here says Joey gets hammered. Joey Barton's in shock talks with West Ham about a deal. Midfield boy negotiations early stage. Aston Villa are also keen, but the 32-year-old has been in discussions with the Hammers, even though co-chairman David Gold has previously slammed him on Twitter.
Yes.
So, that one is causing a bit of a fuss down in the East End.
Now, here's one from Aidan, who's tweeted at the two mics. He says, Porky is completely wrong about Sterling. Clueless, in fact. It was his first game. How could you judge him on that? I think he's got some relevance, that particular tweet.
Well, yes and no, but I mean, what about the boy Reece Oxford who made his debut at Arsenal for West Ham?
Yeah.
Well, he's outstanding.
Right.
So he wasn't shocked by the occasion. He wasn't shocked by the atmosphere. He wasn't shocked by the
different kettle of fish.
No,
though,
it's not. No, he's a younger boy.
16-year-old playing for West Ham against Arsenal, whereas Raheem Sterling, the highest ever player, highest ever paid for player in the English Premier League, English player. So I mean, he's got quite a lot of weight on his shoulders, and I think for him to come on and have an okay game is fine.
Well, taken off after 70 minutes, mate. I'm not sure what's great about that. Missed 2 golden chances.
Well, as I say, I think the fact is that Manuel Pellegrini is a smarter guy than people give him credit for.
Yes.
And I think he's managing him properly by saying, you are not the superstar in this team. There's an awful lot of superstars in this team. Yaya Touré's just shown you how to score 2 goals. And so, let's take it a bit slowly.
Don't you think Manuel Pellegrini is a bit too quiet?
Well, yes, I think he is a bit too quiet at times.
Yeah.
But Manchester City have by far and away blown everyone else's performances out of the water this weekend. I mean, Man United barely had a shot on goal. Yeah. Chelsea looked very stultified still. I don't know what's wrong with them. Arsenal did not at all measure up to what we were being told they were going to be. So I think he's doing a great job.
I saw some research over the weekend which said that people with deeper voices get on better in life.
Is that right?
It all goes down.
Would you consider yourself to have a deep voice?
Not particularly.
Would you consider me to have a deep voice?
No, not particularly. No. Now, do you remember an old news editor?
Do you mean sort of people who talk like that? Sort of voice?
Sort of the
Brian Blessed types.
The Churchillian type type thing. But it says here, this is scientists have found that looking at political contenders, voters prefer candidates with deeper voices as they're perceived as being more dominant and physically powerful.
Yes.
The study published in the journal PLOS ONE.
+1?
Yeah. Well, it's +1, actually. PLOS1. I don't know what that is, yeah. Were played recordings of actors with different voices pitching... different voice pitches.
Yeah.
Saying, I urge you to vote for me this November. And the vast majority of people who listened to the voices from the actors voted for the politician with the deepest voice.
Interesting. Well, I suppose there's
Do you remember John Jinks? Remember Johnny Jinks?
I do remember John Jinks.
Now, Johnny Jinks was my news editor at The Express, and in fact, I subsequently took over his job, you know, when he became old and knackered.
Yeah.
And I moved in there pretty swift, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you didn't waste a second.
No, I didn't actually, no. Now, Johnny's on the brink now of sort of being admitted to a sort of, you know, like a facility where we look after aging journalists.
Aging journalists,
like that. But Johnny was very successful.
He had a very deep voice.
He had a very deep voice indeed.
Yeah.
Jinx, and want to talk about tomorrow's news list and what we're doing.
Do you not always suspect that when people have a voice that's that deep that it might be slightly affected?
Well, the point is, I was going to make is he was very, very successful at attracting secretaries at the Express, even more so than me.
Was that? Did you base your kind of your career on him then?
Well, I had a terrific admiration for him. He'd go into the pub after work in his Crombie coat and his black curly hair and his deep voice, and within 2 hours, he was leaving the pub with a different secretary every week, you know, or every night or something like that. It was a shocking behaviour, I agree, but that's how people used to behave in Fleet Street in those days. But, you know, he's ended up a knackered old wreck like most of us did in Fleet Street. Well, no, I mean, it's true. Yeah. And he doesn't mind me saying that because he's a friend of mine. So, you know...
When was the last time you saw him?
Oh, probably a year ago.
A year?
Yeah.
Right.
But he does live in Spain.
Does he?
Yes.
Well,
but he's coming. He's coming back now to take residence, I believe, in a place in.
So you'll be able to go visit him on a regular basis. Is that one of those places in Surrey?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, down in Dorking.
Dorking.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, well, then just down the road from you.
Yeah, well, it is actually. Yeah, but I'm not sure I want to visit him too often. I mean,
you could take him some more of your memorabilia from your early broadcasting career.
I could, but you know, you don't spend too much time with knackered old people, do you? Really, because you know what I mean.
He's so generous of spirits.
Well, yeah, I don't want to be unkind or anything like that, but his deep voice is still with him, you know. Michael.
Yes, because there is a particular type of British man
that's right.
who has a deep voice but not very much going on upstairs.
Yeah, that's right. In fact, I remember he told me once, actually, Johnny, it was one of the Cheltenham meetings, right? And the place he stayed was like a sort of boarding house.
Yeah.
And the boarding house lady, you know, who ran it, wouldn't leave him alone, even though she was married to the bloke who ran the boarding house, but she was always bursting into his bedroom.
Right.
Yeah, I remember him telling me,
Oh, funny.
He says nothing happened, but he was...
I don't believe that.
He was, on one occasion we were there, he was being chased around Gloucestershire by a farmer.
Right.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Well, that would explain
definitely,
a lot.
Yeah.
Excellent. He is right, Porky Parry. I'm Mike Graham. We've got winners and losers coming up in a little while. We're going to talk about Shaun the Sheep as well. Loads more on TalkSport.
On DAB Digital Radio and 1089 and 1053 AM.
A terrific performance.
Turn of pace and eye for goal.
Shout about it.
TalkSport.
And meanwhile at the station there's a couple of likely lads who swear like as your father, and they're very cool for cats, they're cool for cats. To change the mood a little, I've been posing down the pub. I'm seeing my reflection, I'm looking slightly rough. I fancy this, I fancy that, I wanna be so flash. I'll give a little muscle and I'll spend a little cash, but all I get is bitter and a nasty little rash. And by the time I'm sober I've forgotten what I've had, and everybody tells me that it's cool to be a cat, cool for cats.
This is Talk Sport. We are the two mics. Coming up, we're going to be talking about Shaun the Sheep and its great success in the United States of America. Here's one from somebody who doesn't give a name, who's texted into 81089. My mate has called his new pet snake Mike Parry. His old one died. It was called Richard Burton. So Mike is in high-class company by name.
Really?
He says, P.S. it's a python.
Good God, how long do these snakes last then? If that song's called Richard Burton, it's been 30 years ago.
I think they do live as long as that. I think snakes do live for a long time.
Amazing.
Now, one here from somebody, I'm not sure whether he's giving his name. He says he lives in Swadlincote, Derbyshire.
Swadlincote. Do you know what Swadlincote's famous for?
What's it famous for?
That was the home of Jack Bedell, who was a British heavyweight boxing champion,
Jack Bedell,
who was so useless. He was known as and he was a pig farmer. He was a pig farmer mostly, and a heavyweight boxer on the side. So useless, he was known as the Swadlincote swineherd. And after he started his professional career, he was even more useless. And he got
because he fought like Henry Cooper and people like that, didn't he?
But he got knocked out such a lot. He then. I
can picture his face. He had one of those faces that looked like he was constantly surprised.
Yeah, he had like a potato face. It looked like being bashed up a lot. And he graduated from being called the Swadlincote swineherd because everybody in London thought he was just some peasant from some Derbyshire farm. To get knocked out so often, he then became known in the industry as Canvasback Jack.
Well, do you remember there was a guy...
He spent so much time out in the ring.
There was a guy, I remember in America when I went over there, you might remember who he was, I can't remember his real name, but his name was the Bayonne Bleeder. He came from Bayonne, New Jersey, and the word on the street for this guy was that every time he heard a bell ring, he just started bleeding because he was always getting smashed up by somebody. Anyway, this guy says, hey guys, you never read my texts out. I'm a long-time fan of yours, but some of the garbage you read out on the text makes me think. I hope it's not personal. Then he says, Paul Clement, the Derby County manager, should have gone and got Joey Bartley. He will be a good player at championship level, and he's the experience we need in a team to make us look a devastating-looking squad at this level.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea.
And he says he's lying on his bed in his truck on Southport Beach.
He's lying on his bed in his truck on Southport Beach?
On Southport Beach.
Well, he's parked up for the night on Southport Beach.
I guess so,
You can park on Southport Beach, actually. It's quite a nice area,
I've just been reminded, and the name now looks familiar to me. The Bayonne Bleeder was Chuck Wepner. That was his name.
Chuck Wepner, I do remember.
I know that you won a fight. I don't think you ever won a fight.
No. Anyway, listen, the reason we were playing Cool for Cats, mate, is somebody sent me a book over the weekend about the fridge.
Oh, yeah?
Now, you might say...
the fridge, what? William Perry?
No,
Formerly of the Chicago Bears?
No, about the development of fridges and how it changed our lives.
Oh, fascinating. Is it a big book?
It's a big book, and this book, it's called Chilled, and it claims that it is the most important domestic appliance ever. Forget the electric kettle, forget the cooker, because, there's other ways of doing it, lighting fires in the garden and all that kind of stuff.
Do you know, I actually cooked a paella on the barbecue this weekend.
Did you?
Yeah.
That sounds all right. Yeah. Did you enjoy that?
It was good, yeah.
Yeah, OK. But you can't...
Sorry to bore you with
No, that's all right.
Intimate details of my private life.
That's all right. But the main thing is the fridge. And the thing is, it took nearly 40 years to work out a way to turn normal air cold.
Yeah.
And in the end, they worked out how you do it. You have to pressurise it and push it through little holes, which...
Well, funnily enough, we've spoken about this before, about the Taj Mahal. The Indian mogul...
Oh, right, that's right.
Indian moguls actually came up with this system years and years ago, because that was why they made all these little marble sort of holes in their buildings.
Yes.
Because they worked out that if you refracted the air going through, it would actually get colder.
Really?
Yeah.
That's precisely what the...
I thought they used Freon. I thought that was the whole point.
It says the world's earliest functioning refrigerator wasn't built until 1851, and that was in Australia.
Oh, yeah.
First thing it was used for was to cool down beer.
Yeah.
Even by 1911, the first models went on sale in the US. Fridges cost $1,000 US, £644, which was twice the price of a car in those days. Yeah. Britain was still slow to catch on. In 1965, this is what is interesting to me about this book, only a third of UK households owned a fridge.
Right.
And one of those households was my house, because my mum and dad bought our house in about 1951 or something like that.
Well, it wasn't really until the 60s that everybody had a fridge, was it?
I remember the house without a fridge.
Yeah.
We had a parlour, and in the parlour went the butter, to keep it cool.
Well, I remember when I lived as a student, and also sort of slightly after that, when I lived in this house in Bath, we had this massive sort of larder, I suppose you could call it, right?
That's right, not parlour.
And it was our kitchen was kind of below the level of the street.
Oh, that's right.
And you walk in, and it was like a massive walk-in cupboard.
Yes.
And it was really cold. I mean, because it was in the stone, so it was actually quite cool down there as
well.
Okay.
It
was dark, you know.
Well, this is what they used to do, you see, before we had fridges. Because my mum used to keep the milk in a bucket of water outside the front door.
Really?
In cold weather, in warm weather, and in cold weather, you just left the milk outside. But the milk always got frozen.
Yeah.
Because because it got frozen, it expanded, and so the milk always had 2 or 3 inches of like a milk.
Did you get the milk delivered in those days?
Yeah, I've got milk delivered.
So did you get gold top milk or silver top?
Got a silver top, I think. But the pure you could get it in, it froze, and then it pushed out the bottle. So you had this stalk of milk shooting out the bottle.
Yeah.
And
you don't have to worry as well about birds pecking away at the top of it.
Birds always pecked away.
Yeah,
at
but
it
surely you wouldn't have drunk the milk then after that, would you?
Well, I think in those days people
Hey,
did.
there's the other thing I forgot to tell
What's
you.
that?
On Friday morning,
Yeah.
it was quite eventful Friday morning. After I had the experience with the coach person, right?
Yes.
I got down to the house down in the country, and I was more or less just got into bed and was about to fall asleep.
Yes.
One of the kids comes running upstairs. Dad, there's a bird in the house.
Right,
The dog had chased a bird into the house.
No.
Because he was kind of flying around outside.
Yeah.
And because of the way the dog somehow moved. Suddenly there's a sparrow in the front room.
Right.
And I'm thinking, well, it's different. If you've got a wasp or a bee or something like that, you can just swat it and kill it.
Right, yeah.
But obviously you can't do that with a bird.
So how'd you get up?
Well, it had gone down the back of where we've got like a basket full of logs to the side, gone down the back of that. So I opened it, flew out of that. Right. It was quite a high ceiling. It was just flying round and round and round for about 10 minutes.
Be in panic.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. And eventually, just opened all the windows and eventually found its way out.
Yeah, well, funny enough, you should say that, and this is an absolutely accurate story, which I was going to tell but I'd forgotten until you mentioned it. I was in a public house at lunchtime today, very briefly.
Yeah.
Just to go and see somebody for about half an hour. And a robin flew into the pub.
A robin redbreast.
A robin redbreast.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Is that supposed to be a sign of good luck or something?
Well, I don't know. But it literally, as we were sitting there, it flew in, it landed on the table opposite us. And this was in a sort of semi-rural area, you see what I mean?
Yeah.
It wasn't in the country or anything like that. In fact, it was in the town, actually.
Right.
And it flew in. And luckily, there was a bird expert in there.
Luckily?
Yeah.
Well, no, it wasn't you.
No, it wasn't me.
Did you just put your hand up and go, look, excuse me?
No.
I could be a bird expert.
No. So this chap came over and he said, oh, it's a robin redbreast. And
No, you clearly was an expert then.
well, he was, yeah. But it didn't have a red breast. That's the strange thing.
Really?
No.
Well, how was it a robin then?
Well, because he said it's a very young one.
Uh-huh.
He said that this bird's not been born very long. He said it's disorientated, it's flown in here. We'll have to let it out or else it'll bash its head against a wall or something in panic, So he then sort of he did exactly what you've just said.
Yeah.
He made the owner of the pub open all the doors and all the windows so that the bird would feel the atmospherics of the wind and all that kind of stuff.
And they could see the glass and stuff like that, yeah.
Well, the trouble is they fly at glass. He might have killed himself by flying at glass.
Well, this bird knocked into the glass a couple of times before it came off. I was terrified it was going to just sort of, crap everywhere apart from anything else.
Well, that's not very charitable, is it? The poor little bird's terrified.
Well, I know, but I didn't want that.
They can't make a huge mess, little birds. I don't think. But anyway, it flew off. But that is amazing. But getting back to the fridges, right? Yeah. What they used to do is, can you believe this? That people used to make a living by going to Newfoundland and cutting huge blocks of ice out of the ground, putting them on ships, and then sailing back across the Atlantic with them. Yeah, and by the time they got back, they were still frozen.
Really?
And flogging them to big houses in London who put them in the cellar, put these huge blocks of ice in the cellar.
Well, funnily enough, I'm sure I've seen something like that at Downton Abbey. Didn't they do? Wasn't there an episode of Downton Abbey last season where they had to go and get ice from somewhere because it was really hot?
Yeah, I think it was.
And they had to go and buy a big block of ice or something like that.
Yeah. Here we go. Our forebears had to make do with more rudimentary measures. For much of the 19th century, solution was blocks of ice carved from frozen rivers in northerly latitudes and sometimes from icebergs themselves. They were stored in vast ice houses and sold door to door by icemen. The iceman used to come around with his ice truck.
Is that where the Iceman comes from?
Well, I don't know. I suppose so. Earlier still, ice was largely a rich man's toy. Witness the mound, which are covered ice houses, dotting 17th and 18th century English country estates. The exception to this rich men-only rule was ancient Persia, where ice technology was so advanced that even the poor were used to iced puddings and drinks. They achieved this with huge dome-shaped buildings called yakchakal. No? Or yakachals. Yakchals. No, it's Yakchals, a strange word, wakchals, which preserved the ice in summer and made it in winter in freezing pools fed by sluices. But the Persians were lucky in having the perfect ice-making climate. Very cold... Are you laughing, huh?
I don't know why you're reading all this
Very
rubbish out.
cold winters with low humidity, which means ice forms more easily. The rest of the world had to wait rather longer.
Well, as I said, what a fascinating book you've been saying.
It is, yeah.
You could spend hours perusing the facts in that.
But it gives you the actual chemical formula about how they make it. I'll tell you all about that later in the show. No. You know, how they get all the gases in. You know what he said last week? I told you last week there's a story that fridges keep bursting into flames and setting fire to people's houses. Yeah. That's because they're full of gases.
Shocking. Absolutely shocking. More fascinating facts about fridges and freezers.
Heat exchangers, that's what makes the cold.
Frozen ice.
Squeezing and then expanding a gas called the refrigerant.
Yeah, all right. Calm down.
Yeah.
Have you seen the time?
Yeah,
Look into the light for a moment. Coming up, we're going to speak to Alison Wilmore about Shaun the Sheep. This is Talk Sport.
For Shaun the Sheep, he's Shaun the Sheep. He even mucks about with those who cannot bleat. Keep it in mind, he's one of a kind. Oh, life's a treat with Shaun the Sheep. He's Shaun the Sheep. He's Shaun the Sheep. He's Shaun the Sheep. He's Shaun the Sheep. He doesn't listen to Revolution.
This is Talk Sport. We are the Two Mics. There will be a podcast coming out a little bit later on, of course. You follow us at the Two Mics. Look out on iTunes and our Podcast Addict and various other places where you can get it for Android, of course. We've got winners and losers coming up in the next hour. Right now, though, we're going to talk to Alison Wilmore, who's the film critic in New York City for BuzzFeed.com. And we're going to talk to her about Shaun the Sheep. Alison, a very good morning to you.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you very much for joining us. My colleague Mike Parry here alerted me to the success of Shaun the Sheep over in the United States of America. I mean, I guess Wallace and Gromit has always done reasonably well over there. Is this one doing better than previous?
Well, it's definitely doing better in terms of critics. It's actually one of the best reviewed films of the year so far. You know, on that site, Rotten Tomatoes, that aggregates everyone's reviews, it's at 99% positive.
Right. Wow. That's incredible, isn't it?
Yeah, you know, it's better than the Meryl Streep movie.
yeah, I know. That's absolutely amazing. Now, just the background to this one, Alison, is that it's Aardman Animations, who had some limited success in America, but then found their contract cancelled when they ran out of steam with The Curse of the Were-Rabbit. And so it's a triumphant return in a market where few people get a second chance.
It is, though it's not had the best opening weekend in terms of box office, unfortunately.
Right.
It was not in the top 10. So I
thought you told me it was breaking. I thought you told me it was breaking all box office records.
I was told it was. I thought it was.
You've obviously been misinformed.
No, I haven't been misinformed at all. No, that was what was expected.
Sorry, Alison.
Well, I think it's been doing very well in basically every other country but the U.S. I don't know why in the U.S.
Do you think there's something about the American market that doesn't? I mean, they love obviously everything that Pixar does. It's not as if they don't like animated movies. It's not as if they don't like kind of, kids movies, which are really for adults in the end as well. Do you think there's a kind of a language barrier going on?
But there's no talking in this movie.
That's what I mean.
It's part of what's charming.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's that the TV series. I don't think it played here on television, or if it did, it was on a small network. So for a lot of kids, they don't know Shaun the Sheep, the character already. Mm-hmm. But I'm kind of hoping that everyone. It's such a charming movie. I think that all the praise that it's gotten, I'm hoping that it means that people will kind of look for it in the next week. And that should help it out.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I don't understand this, Alison, because you're absolutely right in terms of the reviews. I've got the Boston Herald review here, called it the best animated film of the year. I've got the Deadline Hollywood said the style and humour of this piece is reminiscent of Jacques Tati or even Chaplin. And yet,
why would you read out other people's film reviews to somebody who does film reviews? Why don't you read Alison's out? How about that?
No, to endorse Alison's point that it's got widespread cultural acclaim.
Critical acclaim.
Yeah. That's the word I'm looking for. But nobody seems to be going to watch it. It's a bit odd, isn't it?
I'll tell you what's a bit odd, is you asking me to get hold of somebody to talk about how the success of Shaun the Sheep is going so well in America. Yeah. It turns out it's not.
Well, no, the point is, it was all based on these reviews. Nobody expected a real bumper opening weekend. That's not my fault. It's belly flopped, is it? No? No, anyway, Alison, sorry, getting back to you, what I was going to say is, you very kindly said, oh, don't worry, there could be a revival underway, but it probably won't happen, will it?
No, it probably won't.
No, exactly.
I mean,
it's a waste of time, this, isn't it?
Yeah, quite. Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what. I mean, do you have, as we do in this country, and I'm certainly not including you in this collective, but there are some snobby film reviewers in this country who always review things which they think are a little bit obscure, particularly if they have subtitles. They're very popular, and anything that's kind of coming out of one of the big Hollywood studios, like a massive. Sequel to the Terminator or the Mission Impossible or, what was it, Jurassic World. Yeah. They're all rubbish, but then everybody goes and pays a fortune to go and see them.
Yeah, I think that especially after the summer where you have so many big movies like that, it gets easier and easier to kind of write them off because you feel a little numb to them. So, by this time of year when you have something like Fantastic Four come around, which no one liked,
right.
Then everyone just feels so jaded, seen cities blow up all summer, and, it's old hat.
Indeed. So
have you actually seen any Wallace and Gromit films?
Yeah, of course I have.
Which one have you seen?
The Wrong Trousers.
You've seen The Wrong Trousers?
Yeah.
Excellent.
And I've seen the other one where the duck turns out to be a psychopathic killer.
No, the psychopathic penguin.
Yeah, psychopathic penguin, that's right, yeah. But anyway, look, what I found here is another quote from David Sproxton.
Oh, here's some more film reviews.
No, this is not film reviews. This is David Sproxton, who's the co-owner of Aardman, that's the company that made Shaun the Sheep. He says, "We've learnt over the years that every nation tells its stories in its own way, and we in Bristol, that's Bristol, the city in England, find it quite hard to make a classic Hollywood blockbuster that would play to Middle America." Well, it seems like his words have been proven to be true, with the opening weekend being disappointing, so one wonders why they sent the film there in the first place, Alison.
I think that there are a lot of people who are rooting for them. A lot of people love Wallace and Gromit, and I think that just there are like 15 new movies coming out every week now, and it's hard to get the attention of people. Yeah. I think sometimes people just never even hear about it and don't even know it's a movie that they can go see.
Right. And I mean, obviously, with the way that the movie business works over there, I mean, is Shaun the Sheep distributed to as many outlets perhaps as the new Mission Impossible would be or Jurassic World, or do you have to go and find it somewhere?
It's not as big a release as either of those movies, but it did actually open nationwide, so it was in a lot of cities throughout the country.
Yeah.
But, I think it's just marketing is very expensive, and there's a lot of noise now. It's hard to find people.
OK, why we have you with us, Alison, are you aware of the new Guy Ritchie film, The Man from U.N.C.L.E.?
Yes, I am. I saw it last week.
Oh, right. Tell us about it, would you? Because, of course, that we have to go back 30 years to the Man from U.N.C.L.E. series with Robert Vaughn.
A bit more than that, I think.
Yeah, a bit more than that.
Mm-hmm. Like 50 years.
Yeah. What was it like?
Well, I haven't ever seen the television series, so I can't tell you how accurate or how much of a terrible travesty it is in terms of adaptation. Mm-hmm. But it was a lot of fun. I thought it was just, it was a lot of fun in terms of action and everyone wearing very fabulous mod clothing.
Without wishing to age ourselves, Alison, we both remember the TV show. Yeah. And in fact, I used to have a Man from U.N.C.L.E. car that had the, it was a blue car, it was a Chevy or something like that.
Oh, I didn't know they had a car.
They had a car.
I had a Man from U.N.C.L.E. gun.
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Were you Ilya Kuryakin or the other one?
No, I was Robert Vaughn, the smooth guy.
Oh, yeah. But it's car, you pressed there was a little button on the top of the car that you pressed and each one of them came out firing a gun.
Oh, I see.
From the other side. It was quite a cool car.
Yeah,
I remember that.
Yeah, right. OK. Yeah. Well, there we are then. So that's something to look forward to anyway.
Yeah, I'd like to ask Alison anything else.
Well, even if Shaun the Sheep is a bit disappointing,
Where's she gone?
Sorry?
She's gone.
Is she gone?
We haven't finished with her yet.
Is she gone?
Yeah, I think...
oh, dear, that was a
sorry
bit of a blow.
Sorry about that, Alison. I thought you disappeared there for a second. I was about to thank you.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you very much indeed. So, look, I mean, what can I say? The point is that my information was that Shaun the Sheep was...
Can we not say goodbye to Alison properly?
Alison, are we still there?
I'm still here.
Oh, lovely, yeah, OK. Alison, I wanted to thank you very much indeed for coming on and helping us through this minefield of misinformation about Shaun the Sheep.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Appreciate your help, Alison. We'd love to get you on again. Thank you very much indeed. What a nice woman.
A very nice woman.
I can't believe you got that so wrong.
What do you mean?
You wanted to talk about the great success of Shaun the Sheep. Yeah. It turns out it's not successful at all.
Look, it's not my fault. I mean, my sources told me, haven't you, have you heard about Shaun the Sheep in America? No, what's it all about? Oh, he's ripping up trees.
Was this person calling you from a bar?
No. It was the most successful British animated film ever to take place.
Well, that may well be, but it's not very successful.
Then I went and looked at some pictures of Shaun the Sheep, and he does look like a very attractive sort of little character,
Well, I mean, he originally appeared in one of the other movies, and so they've now built on it. I mean,
which movie did he appear in?
I'm told. Well, there was the last Wallace and Gromit one, I think.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
And how was it?
Was it not the who was it that was trying to drive away with the sheep all the time?
Yeah, the evil lorry driver with all the sheep in the back. Yeah,
that's right. That's where Shaun the Sheep sort of first surfaced.
And has he been in a series in this country before they made this film?
Well, no. I mean, they released Shaun the Sheep here some time ago.
Oh, right.
I remember I went to the movies a few months ago.
Oh, I see.
My son didn't fancy it. He wanted to go and see Interstellar instead, which was far more confusing than Shaun the Sheep would ever be.
What did you end up seeing?
We saw Interstellar, I just said that.
So you haven't seen Shaun the Sheep?
No.
Oh, well, you don't know what you're talking about then, do you?
Well, you haven't seen it either.
Well, of course I haven't seen it, because it's gone to America, isn't it?
Oh, what, you mean there's only one copy?
Well,
no, let's get over there.
No.
I had no idea.
No, don't
I'm
be
sorry,
ridiculous.
we can't show Shaun the Sheep today
Don't be ridiculous.
in the Odeon Swiss cottage because we've sent the film away to America.
Very funny. Point is, my research machinery seems to have gone a bit awry on this one.
It's not just your research machinery.
But don't worry about it. Even Alison said it could make a comeback this weekend. So there we go.
Yeah, many thanks. I don't know what we've got coming up next. This is the two mics.
We're the kids in America. Whoa. We're the kids in America. Whoa. Everybody live for the music around. Bright lights and music is faster. Look boy, don't check on your watch.
This is Talk Sport. We are the two mics. Winners and losers coming up in the next hour. Don't forget, it's a brand new season of Winners and Losers, so the opening score is 0-0.
Yes.
Do you want to say now whether you wish to be retweeted or favourited?
I want to be favoured tonight.
Okay, so why don't we agree tonight that we will interchange that every week? So
okay, that's
your
fair enough.
You can start the first one by being favourite, and then we'll just go backwards and forwards. Now, a couple of tweets to read out to you.
Right, okay.
Here's one from Divrio, who says, has Mike Parry seen the new Wallace and Gromit movie? It's called Wallace and Gromit and the Wrong Guest.
Oh, yeah? The Wrong Guest. Yeah, that's right.
And Ben says, that was brilliant. Shaun the Sheep is breaking box office records, but no one has seen it.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. That's about it. Yeah, basically. Yeah. And even when Alison tried to placate us by saying, well, don't worry, it could make a big comeback this weekend because there's, some sort of revival in this sort of thing. She admitted later that probably wasn't going to happen.
No, quite. Yeah. Exactly right. Yeah. And then a couple from the Professor, who's been recently in hospital, is now out of hospital.
Oh, so I hope he's getting better.
Wish him all the best.
Yeah,
he says the first known artificial refrigeration was demonstrated by William Cullen at the University of Glasgow in 1748.
Really?
And then in 1805, an American inventor called Oliver Evans designed the first refrigeration machine.
Really?
How about
that's good to know, yeah. Yeah, okay, I'm sure that's all
And the first practical refrigerating machine was built by Jacob Perkins in 1834.
I'm sure that's all contained in my my new tome on refrigeration.
Tome. Yeah, maybe we've got to that bit.
Yeah. Listen, reason we play Kids in America there, right. Our children are going to lose all the skills that we grew up with.
Yeah.
For instance, when did you last see one of your children reading a map?
Reading a map? Now, that's interesting. Yeah, I don't think... I mean, they've got atlases, right, and they've got a globe in their room.
Yeah, but they've also got something to Google it on all the time, haven't they?
But, I mean, they don't really have to... I mean, whenever I show them a map, to be honest, it does tend to be... either, I mean, one of them in his old room had a big poster of the world, and I would show him countries. But nowadays, I tend to show him on Google Earth.
Yeah, that's exactly what I mean.
Yeah.
Have either of your kids ever used a compass?
Actually, I think they have, yeah.
Have they?
Because they go on, like, orienteering things.
That's what I mean, because we used to do all that, didn't we? And have they ever been taught to tie a knot in a rope?
Now that I probably would say no to.
No, well, I never was either, really. But apparently it's one of these
one of them's only just learned to tie shoelaces because I mean it's so hard now to actually get shoes with laces for kids. I mean, obviously I'm not talking about trainers,
but because the Velcro.
But even a lot of trainers they have Velcro, or they have different kind of attachments. Yeah, I mean it's quite hard. And like school shoes, kids' school shoes hardly ever have laces now.
Really? Yeah. I didn't know that. Now, for instance, have you ever seen your children in the last few years look something up in a book through an index rather than Googling it?
Not really, no. Again, because the books that they tend to read, I mean, they're both reading Harry Potter books now, which is quite good.
Right,
I'm quite pleased about that. But
Yeah.
that doesn't really. I don't think they have indexes.
Can they write?
Sorry, I haven't finished answering
I'm
that
sorry.
question.
Yes,
No, you carry on with the next one.
No, go on.
Oh,
yeah.
you just drift
no,
off, don't you?
No, go on.
No, I mean, literally.
No.
I mean, talk about.
I heard you
attention-
say they're both reading Harry Potter books. What more do I need to know?
Well, because I was then about to add, I don't think they've got an index, right?
Oh, right,
So they
okay.
don't look up things from that. But also, they don't really have reference books anymore.
No, that's what I mean.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Can each of them, of your two lads, write a letter correctly? So if they had to write a letter of thank you to some kind person that you know, might have bought them a present or something like that.
One of them, I think, wrote you a thank you
He
note.
did, yeah,
After you bought
absolutely.
them
Yeah,
that
but I don't know how much
useless, balsa wood plate.
That's a bit harsh. I don't know. That crashed on
into
its
a tree,
on its first mission.
Yeah.
But I don't know how much of that influences yours. You see, I don't know whether you're standing over your
No. I mean,
your lad.
I mean, they get quite
Yeah.
a bit of homework. They do have to write down their own, their own stuff, and they write in pencil in their homework book, so they can write.
Okay. Do they understand pounds and ounces?
Pounds and ounces? Not really, no, because they never talk about that in school anymore.
No,
It's all
exactly.
It's all kilos and grams and all that kind of thing.
And all this comes from a study actually conducted by the Ordnance Survey people.
Oh, right. So the people that make maps?
Yeah, people who make maps, that's right. So, for instance, can you as a father change your plug?
Yeah, I would say so.
Can you?
I haven't done one for a while, but yeah.
I haven't. I'm not sure I could do it these days.
Well, there was a time. Do you remember there was a time when everything you bought
didn't come with a plug?
It didn't come with a plug.
Unbelievably.
And you had to put your own plug on.
Unbelievably. When you know the first time you buy a house and all that when you're in the early 20s in this country, because it's different in America. In America, everything's got a plug on it.
Yeah, that's right.
Because it's a tiny
and
plug.
It's a 2-pin, isn't it?
Yeah, 2-pin compared to 3 pins here.
Yeah.
But I remember it was maddening. Every time you bought a kettle or you bought anything that you plugged in, didn't have a plug.
And they were all different because some of them would have a fuse inside, or some of them wouldn't have a fuse inside.
And different voltage of fuses and all that kind of stuff. Yeah,
exactly.
But
I mean, I can't remember the last time I had to put a plug on anything.
No, I can't either, and I'm not sure I could do it these days.
Well, didn't they change all the wires around as well?
Yeah, they did different colours and all that, and
So
they got new colour codes.
The earth is, or the live is brown now, isn't it?
Oh, I wouldn't
Or
know.
was it green
I
green
wouldn't
and
know,
yellow?
mate. I wouldn't know.
They changed it all.
Even if I bought things with plugs these days, I wouldn't change it myself now. I'd get somebody else to do it.
Yeah,
It's not
very
a problem.
wise, yeah.
But for instance, do your lads remember friends or relatives' phone numbers in their head?
No.
No?
No.
Do you want them to?
They know our phone numbers.
Right.
I mean, they know my phone number, they know their mother's phone number,
Yeah.
they know their house phone
Yeah,
number.
yeah.
As for other people's numbers, I'm not sure.
Well, I mean, if have they got their own phones?
No.
No, and if they did have,
I mean, they've got iPads so they can FaceTime people.
Yeah, that's. Oh, have they? Yeah. But what
you don't need a phone number for that.
No, okay. What I'm saying is, if they had a mate who had a phone, they'd just put his number in the phone.
Yeah, that's right.
So they wouldn't know he's not.
Well,
I don't
a
know
bit
your
like you
number.
and I.
Yeah, I don't know what your number is.
No, I don't know yours either.
No, exactly, and that kind of stuff. But these are all
Do you
lost.
know the other
lost
number
arts.
I don't know? I don't even actually know my own number in London.
Well,
and I have to, whenever I have to give it out to people, which is rare.
Yeah.
But I occasionally have to give it out to people.
Yeah.
I have to look it up.
Well, the funny thing is, I've just had an email from BT saying your contract renewal expires on August 31.
Yeah.
So if you renew your contract with BT Broadband, okay, you won't be charged £6.75, whatever it is, a month for the BT Sport.
Okay.
Okay? I said, OK, that's fine.
Cheap, isn't it? $6.95 a month.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's right.
Yeah, it is right,
Really?
yeah. Although, funny enough... If
You know when we were talking about this the
it
other
is right,
day?
because at the house where I haven't got BT, I'm charged £17 now.
Right.
But because I've got
for BT?
Yeah, for BT.
But you said you hadn't got it.
No. At the house where I've got Sky telephone and broadband, I pay £17 for the BT.
For the added-on BT.
Monthly, yeah.
Okay.
But at the house where I have got it...
Right.
I still get it for free.
Ah, okay.
But I'll have to pay $6.75 if I don't renew my contract.
Ah, okay.
So, anyway, point of the story is...
But you have to pay line rental and all the rest of it there, don't you?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, exactly. So the point of it is, I say, right, renew, and then, of course, it says fill in the number.
Yeah.
And I forgot that it's my house on the coast, not the one in London.
Yeah.
And I don't know the number.
Right.
I simply don't. The only way I can find it out is when I get down there, open the drawer.
Ring yourself.
No, I go down there, get a drawer, and there's a phone bill.
Oh.
I keep all the phone bills
okay.
there. So I can find out what the number is from the phone bill, but I haven't got a clue what it is.
Right.
I never use it. The only reason I ever had it installed...
Well, the other way you could do it is to phone your mobile from the phone, and then your number would come up. Unless you blocked yourself.
Oh, yeah, but I'd have to be there to do that. And obviously, I wasn't there today when this came up.
You'd have to be there to look in the drawer as well.
Yeah, of course I would. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But I've got until August 31st, so that's not a problem. But anyway,
thanks for telling us all that.
Yeah, well, I thought you'd like to know.
Yeah.
Now,
fascinating.
The other thing is...
I think you should go back to the book on fringes, personally.
I thought it was very interesting. particularly as it stimulated a tremendous amount of traffic in tweets.
Yeah, well, hang on. The other question I have for you, because we talked about this last week, are they not duty bound to show some of the Champions League stuff free to air, BT, this season?
I don't know about that.
I thought they had.
Really? I don't think so. I think they bought the contract and said, that's it, you're locked out unless you've got BT.
No, I think they are duty bound because they're taking over from a free-to-air channel.
Right.
They're duty bound to put at least some of the games out.
Are they?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, not important games, then.
Champions League games.
No, I mean, do they have to involve English teams?
I think so, yeah.
Do they?
I think that's part
I didn't
of
know that.
I think it may be only for one season, but I think they have to do it.
No, I didn't know
they
that.
promised to do it, I'm pretty sure.
OK. Now, for instance, do you remember when we were kids, you went around rubbing trees with you got a bit of paper and you put it on the bark of a tree and then you rubbed something over it?
Well, not so much the bark, but I remember doing it in, like, museums and in churches and things, like brass rubbings.
Brass rubbings. And then did you used to identify leaves? I mean, put a sycamore leaf in
we used to do all
an exercise book.
Yeah.
Now, do your kids do that now?
Well, they used to, when in last school year, they would both occasionally, in fact, one day a week, my older son would be taken on what they call a forest afternoon, and they would go out into the woods.
That's great, isn't it?
Yeah, and they would identify things and,
Mind you, I wouldn't let any child of mine do that now.
Why?
Because they get Lyme disease.
No, they don't get Lyme disease.
Yeah, they do.
Rubbish,
they get bitten by ticks and get Lyme disease.
You don't. The only way you get. No, first of all, it's not fatal, right?
It can be.
No, it can't be.
Yeah, it can
only
be.
if you're very old and infirm.
Well, it can be very damaging.
My mother got Lyme disease and she survived it.
Really? Yeah. Well, I bet it wasn't pleasant, though.
It wasn't pleasant at all.
That's what I mean. Well, you don't want your children to have an unpleasant experience, do you?
Of course not, no. But generally speaking, it only affects people in places where there are deer, because they're actually deer ticks.
Yeah.
And
is that what Lyme disease is?
Well, deer ticks are what cause Lyme or carry Lyme disease, and so if you're in a place,
sure about that?
Yeah, very sure.
Oh, yeah,
if I know a bit about Lyme disease.
Okay.
If there are deer around, then yes, you should be careful. But generally speaking, they're not really in the undergrowth. They're just walking on paths in the woods. You know?
Yeah.
And they make fires, and they kind of.
So do they know how to make a fire? That's another one on the list of things.
Yeah.
No, you can't make a fire from rubbing two bits of wood together.
Yeah, you can. They did.
Can't.
Yeah.
That's rubbish.
It's not rubbish.
I've tried it for years and years and years.
You've tried it? When?
I've tried it. I only.
When was the last time you tried to make a fire from wood?
About a year ago.
Why?
I decided I was going to test this for good because.
Where did you do that then?
Oh, in some wood somewhere, in Stockbroker Bell territory, and I was out walking.
You weren't arrested.
No, I decided.
I thought a strange-looking man, wearing a lot of clothes for the heat. He's trying to start a fire with two bits of wood.
Yeah, that's right. I did.
You would definitely
because I don't believe it can happen.
Well, how do you think cavemen did it?
Well, I don't know. I mean, maybe it was all a bit of a con trick, and they.
They actually had matches.
No, they didn't have matches, you fool. But they could. they probably struck something against the wall of their caves to create the spark or something like that. But have you ever tried it? Have you ever tried it?
I don't think I have. No.
Well, exactly.
It doesn't mean it doesn't happen.
It doesn't happen.
No, that's not true.
Rubbing two bits of wood together does not create a spark.
My older son went and they do a thing called PGL, which is like a sort of weekend away.
What's PGL?
It's I can't remember what it stands for. It's a bit like Duke of Edinburgh Award type stuff.
PGL.
Right? PGL. Yeah. They go and they stay in this place, and they, every school does it in the country, and they sleep in kind of dormitories in bunk beds, and they go abseiling, and they do a bit of this, that, and the other. And one of the things they did was starting a fire without anything other than two bits of wood.
No, they
did.
They must have soaked them in petrol or something because
that wouldn't help.
I've been trying it for years. I was fascinated by this when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And from the age of about...
Fire starter.
No.
Have to have a bit of
from the age of about 8, I thought, right, I'm going to start a fire. My back gone. And I spent years rubbing bits of wood together. Nothing ever happened.
Well,
Nothing's
isn't it
ever
just
happened.
about making the wood actually generate heat, which then heats up whatever kindling you've got?
No.
And whatever grass you've got.
No, I never saw a spark shoot off a piece of wood that I was rubbing onto another piece of wood.
No, but it's not about sparks. It's about the heat that you generate from rubbing the pieces of wood together.
Well, how does that start a fire?
Well, heat starts a fire, doesn't it?
Oh, you tell me you're going to do it in the middle of like a bale of hay or something like that?
Eh?
Do you have to do it in the middle of a bale of hay?
Well, you can get hay would be helpful. If any kind of dry grass, I mean, you can't use wet grass, can you?
No, of course not. Of course you can't.
And you can't use wet bits of wood either.
No, of course not. No, but dry bits of wood, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
I think we should try this experiment because I don't think it works.
I don't think we can do it in the studio.
No, and I shouldn't do it in the studio. Just set fire to the place. But
I can use my new lighter.
Use your new lighter. That just start it all up. But I honestly don't think it works. I think it's a bit of a con trick, and I'm very, very sceptical about it.
You're sticking with that, are you?
Yeah. The only other one I was going to tell you about
is
You've got plenty of time. Converting
like 30
pounds
seconds.
and ounces to grams. I bet they can't do that.
No, not really.
Yeah, you
no.
see.
Although, funnily enough, one of them's quite interested in baking now.
Oh.
And still, because of the way that things are sold,
yes,
some things are still sold, and they've got both on the packet.
Oh, I
packets
see.
of sugar.
So it converts.
Yeah, so some of them can. So, you know,
Okay.
I would say sort of 50-50 on that. But fascinating stuff. We've got Winners and Losers coming up, the new version, in the next hour. Roy says this: what person has such a boring life that you find a book on refrigerators interesting? Answer, Porky the Plank.
No, it's because I've got a fertile mind.
Yeah, exactly right. There's another word for that. This is Talk Sport. We are the two mics. We got lots more to do, and of course, there's a podcast coming out a little bit later on, about 6 hours from now. A couple of tweets to read out to you, Mr. Parry. One from David, who says, "I was in the Man from Uncle fan club.
Oh yeah, I remember
called
that.
up to go anywhere in the world to fight thrush."
Yeah.
Which was the name of the bad guys, wasn't it?
And does he send in a picture of the pass card that you got?
Yeah, like the pass card.
Yeah, I've seen it. I've got it.
One of those,
I've got it here.
But I do remember the car. The car was great. Here's one from Irish. It's a bit unfortunate, this one. He says, "My wife and I having our 10th wedding anniversary. Sorry, our wedding anniversary on the 10th of August. She said early night tonight, honey. I said, sorry, love, the two mics are on.
Yeah.
Ha ha.
Yeah.
So bad news for him.
Yeah.
Kenny says, to be helpful, to wire a plug, blue left, brown right, leaving green and yellow to go up the middle. Is green and yellow the earth now, then?
Yeah, it must be, I suppose. Yeah, it must be.
And Aidan says 12 free games to air, I think it is, from BT Sport.
12 free games to air?
Yeah.
What, during the season?
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
And a
okay.
realist says
okay.
you'll only be able to see free Champions League games on BT if you have Freeview.
Oh.
So you might not be able to see the free ones. But then if you're paying for it, you don't have to worry, do you?
No, exactly, yeah. Well, I'm only paying for it at one of my places. The other place, I get it for free because I've got, like, BT broadband, you know.
Yeah, right.
Anyway, listen, did you know that there's a part of England that is officially classed as desert?
Desert?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
And it's for sale.
Really?
Yeah,
Where
honestly, it's amazing. Because I keep my eye on all the property magazines, all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I have to, and I'll tell you about a fantastic property in a minute. But I didn't realise that this place, it's called Dungeness. It's where the power station is.
That's not far from Camber Sands.
Well,
in fact, you could see Dungeness from there.
Well, it's classified as a desert.
Is it?
Yeah, it's Britain's only official desert. It featured on a Pink Floyd album cover because it was so eerie and
But it's
all
right
that.
by the sea, though.
Yeah, 600 species of plant.
Right. So it's kind of marshland more than desert, isn't it?
And the Dungeness estate on the Kent coast is now for sale for the first time in more than 50 years. But you need like £1.5 million to buy it, which isn't very expensive, really, considering
Not bad,
it's 468 acres.
Yeah.
But it's shingle. It's I don't know why you'd buy it. I don't know why anybody would buy it because there's nothing there.
Well, you know, the last time I saw a story about Dungeness, it was when there's because it's quite eerie in a way. I've never been that close to it, but you can see the Dungeness power station, as I say, from Camber, where I go sometimes. It's not that far from Sussex, and there was a house for sale, which was like a little cottage, but it looked very picturesque. Yeah. And one of the estate agents companies that put it up for sale only took the picture of it from one angle, because from one side you can see this massive power station looming in the background.
Right, of course,
it's right next to it.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
So what they did was they took the picture from the other side.
That's
so
right.
you couldn't see that it was right next to this.
Yeah,
place,
I remember seeing that.
Yeah.
But the only thing on this Dungeness estate are literally huts that are falling to pieces.
Yeah.
They've been abandoned.
I mean, it's quite a cool part of the world, but I don't understand how you can call it a desert, though.
It is a desert. It's officially classified by the world authority as a desert.
But it doesn't look like the Sahara or anything, does it? Or Death Valley.
No, it looks like what it is, an abandoned sort of huge shale beach, and there's nothing there. But it does produce £130,000 a year in income.
Does it?
From ground rents, filming rights, fishing leases and shingle licences. Apparently, it's very, very popular with film companies because of, its desert-like appearance.
Yeah.
There's 100 homes as well.
It's
many
also,
former fishermen's cottages.
Featured in a lot of music videos, I'm told.
Yeah, Pink Floyd.
Yeah.
I told you, didn't I? Yeah.
No, but Lighthouse Family filmed something there. The Thrills, The Prodigy.
Oh, really?
Firestarter, there you go. There's another reference to it. Athlete, Alid Jones.
Yeah.
And Turin Breaks.
Wow, is that right? Yeah. Well, there you go. But anyway, look, the other property I'm going to tell you about, because this came up as well in my property searches, always looking for an investment and all that.
Oh, yeah.
But I wouldn't be able to afford this one. It's Silvio Berlusconi's flogging his villa in Sardinia.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, look, it's no point me saying guess how much it costs because it's quite ridiculous. This property is so huge. Yeah. It cost $350 million.
Really?
Sorry, pounds. £350 million.
I'll tell you what puts that into perspective, because I mean, I don't know what the property prices are like. Is it in Sardinia, did you say?
It's in Sardinia.
Because I don't know if you saw, I saw this the other day, Michael Douglas is putting up for sale his palatial mansion in Mallorca.
Right.
Which is absolutely beautiful.
Yes.
It's on the north side of the island.
Yeah.
And it's about 50 million quid.
50.
So if this one's 7 times that.
This is 7 times that.
I mean, this place has got, like, you know, terraces, swimming pools, you know, indoor, outdoor dining areas.
Yeah.
It's a massive house.
Well, yeah,
this one must be like Buckingham Palace.
Well, it's unbelievable. Here's the specifications for it, because it's up for sale. And
is it called Bunga Bunga or something?
It is called Bunga Bunga, I think.
Is it? Is that where he had the parties then?
Silvio Berlusconi always be associated with the Bunga Bunga Palace on Sardinia's Costa Smeralda.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Former Italian Prime Minister's holiday home there, nicknamed after his wild parties, hosted receptions for, amongst others, Tony and Sherry Blair, George W. Bush and Vladimir Putin. It's rumoured now that a Saudi Arabian consortium is buying this house. Now, this house consists of, 68 rooms. I mean, what do you do with 68 rooms?
That is crazy.
68 hectares of gardens and grounds.
Right. Imagine how much it would cost to just keep that clean.
Keep it clean and keep the gardens tidy. Gardens contain megalithic circles and a vast collection of Mexican cacti.
Oh, yeah.
Now, why on earth he wants all these Mexican cacti around, I don't know, because they're a bit prickly.
Yeah, you would think.
He's got 6 swimming pools on the estate. 6 swimming pools. He's built an amphitheatre.
Right. And this is all on the salary of the Prime Minister of Italy?
Well, no, he's one of Italy's richest businessmen, isn't he? He owned
true.
all the television channels and newspapers and all that kind of stuff. A semi-subterranean cave that contains a pool with a mosaic of Poseidon.
Poseidon,
as in the Poseidon Adventure.
Yeah.
This is the great one. A fully functioning artificial volcano, which he sometimes triggers, but then the rest of the island all... What are you laughing at? What are you laughing at?
I'm just laughing at your reference to Poseidon.
Yeah, what about
as in the Poseidon Adventure?
Yeah, well, exactly.
Nothing to do with the sea god or anything.
No, well, I know, you know what I mean, yeah. Just in a way of spelling it,
Shelley Winters, he's got one of her as well.
That's right, yeah. But a fully functioning artificial volcano. Why would you want an artificial volcano?
I don't know, especially when you're quite near a real volcano.
Well, exactly, yeah.
Down the south of Italy.
Yeah, absolutely. And
why is he flogging it anyway?
Well, I'm not sure. Hang on. A dock that grants full access to the Mediterranean, so take the bigger ships. It's on sale now for €495 million.
That's ridiculous.
Which is £350 million.
Isn't that ludicrous, though?
I mean, that's just unbelievable. Yeah. It says...
I'm surprised somebody doesn't buy it and just turn it into a hotel or something.
I don't know. It says, there's no suggestion Mr Berlusconi is short of cash. He is currently due to sell a 48% stake in AC Milan Football Club for about the same amount of money.
Oh, really?
So that means he'll then have £700,000, which is $1 billion.
Well, hang on. So he's selling a 48% stake?
Yeah.
So that means AC Milan's worth about 700 million?
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
That seems a bit of quite a lot of money, doesn't it, for AC Milan? I didn't think teams in Serie A were worth that kind of money.
I didn't, particularly as they haven't got their own ground.
I mean, how much would Everton sell for? If you were to sell it,
£120 million.
Yes, I can't believe that AC Milan would be worth 7 times that.
Seems
like something wrong there.
Seems like a rather high valuation. I have to agree. But no, the point is, he was one of the most controversial men in the world because it was widely assumed, or alleged, I should say, that a lot of his political activities were tied up with his commercial activities, and that's how he was able to.
Is he not still kind of on trial? Basically,
no. He was cleared of all charges.
Was he?
I think he was
kind of an ongoing thing.
He was cleared of all charges except some which he sort of agreed to be cautioned on, or something like that. But I mean, he was never threatened with jail or anything like that.
Right.
You know? And it's quite amazing. Anyway, recently. A fleet of super yachts from Saudi Arabia turned up, 3 of them. And that's why they think...
That constitute a fleet?
Well, it says here. And it says, ahead of their arrival, they made private parking requests for Ferraris, Rolls-Royces and armoured Cadillacs, which appeared on the dockside as soon as the ships arrived.
Different world, isn't it?
Completely different world. Completely different world.
It's bizarre. Go on.
Yeah, did we talk about Cumberbatch?
No, we didn't. No, last week we talked about all the people queuing up to see Hamlet.
Yeah, but you know what his latest trick is?
Yeah.
Asking people in the audience, please don't take pictures of me when I'm on stage, top-putting. Hang on, he gets paid $50 million a film to be filmed.
Right.
And he's
But that's
objecting
pretty
to a few
standard practice.
people sitting in the audience with a held
But
camera.
it's standard practice, isn't it, to ask people not to take pictures? Like a lot of rock stars do it. Madonna did it. I think Britney Spears did it.
We do, don't we?
Well, not really.
Don't we tell people we prefer not to take pictures when we're on the stage?
No, we've never said that. Well, I mean, we prefer not to use flashes.
Yeah, well, exactly.
Just in case it disorients us.
Yeah, well, that's true.
Because we're very easily disoriented.
Particularly when I'm coming out of a hole in the floor on the stage, you know what I mean? It's
exactly.
easy to get disorientated.
Now, I've got a couple of good texts to read to you, but
okay.
we're going to wait and do it coming up next. We've got one from David, we've got one from Mark, we've got one from Captain Beefheart in Liverpool, which I rather like.
Captain Beefheart.
This is Talk Sport.
I'm a fire starter, twisted fire starter. You're the fire starter, twisted fire starter.
This is Talk Sport. We are the two mics, winners and losers. The new version, the latest version, coming up very, very shortly. Let me read you a couple of these that have come in, Mr. Parry. Mark says, hi to the two mics. My granddad was a milkman in the early days when milk was delivered on carts with milk urns. Customers left empty containers on the doorstep for him to fill with milk. Often there was rainwater and sometimes dog and cat pee in the containers they left. Yeah. And he had to empty them out before filling them up. How times have changed.
How times have changed.
Captain Beefheart in Liverpool says, next Aardman film is Porky and his magic fridge, Curse of the Meat Raffle.
That's a
which
bit
is quite
harsh.
good. Dear Mr. Graham, Porky's research machinery. At last, we finally know what's in the locked room. Nutty Professor, says Brian in Islington.
There's one guy here called Peter. He says, he says, Shaun the Sheep only did 4 million in its first weekend in the US. It has absolutely tanked. I love Shaun the Sheep. And he says, no wonder Porky and his sources... Porky and his sources, no wonder he never made it to the pinnacle of investigative journalism. Well, actually, I didn't make it to the pinnacle of investigative journalism because I always found investigative journalism very boring.
Yes.
It used to go on for weeks and weeks and weeks before you actually produced a story.
Well, technically speaking, all journalism should be investigative, shouldn't
it should be.
I was always a bit suspicious. I remember when the Express, after you'd gone and after I'd gone, in fact, they decided in their wisdom, I think it was Rosie Boycott who was in charge, decided that she'd been conned by these guys from the Observer who said they came over and saw that the writing was on the wall of the Observer and they were running out of money. So they came en masse, 4 of them, can't remember their names, and convinced her that they should set up an investigations unit at the Express.
Really?
Right? And as somebody said about a year later, they said what they should have been doing an investigation into was how they hadn't got anything in the paper.
Exactly.
Because they literally just spent days and days and days and weeks
and
weeks on these investigations, which never went anywhere.
You just go to the pub every day and say you're interviewing contacts and all that, and nothing ever comes of it.
Sent around the world a couple of times.
The only paper who does it now is the
Sunday Times. Sunday Times still do it, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
I mean, they've done all this stuff
that's
on
the Insight. They've done very well. But do the Mirror still have this guy Penman?
Yeah, Andrew Penman. Yeah.
Oh, is the other guy Penman and somebody?
I think it's only him now. I think due to the redundancies, I think so. Cut down to one.
But I mean, they actually have a picture of a light, don't they, shining in somebody's face.
That's
We're investigating you and all that.
But that's more like people it's more consumery, that.
Yeah,
it's more people writing in saying, I've been ripped off by some electric company.
Any time anybody ever said to me, the investigations unit, I just, my heart just sunk. I thought, complete waste of time. In the north of England, right, when I worked at the Express in Manchester, the collective bunch of drunks I worked with up there were legendary.
They speak very highly of you, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, I was the youngest by a mile. I was like 25, 26 when I started on the Express in Manchester.
Yeah.
The next youngest bloke was about 40, but most of them were in their 50s, and most of them were just on a pension mission to get a final salary of 2/3 of their
And did they not always talk
salary.
about AVCs and stuff like that? Those things that you could add in to get a bigger pension.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
That's all they ever talked about.
Yeah, advanced pension contributions.
Voluntary contributions.
And all this kind of... But they never did any work. They just stood in the pub all day, literally getting bladderated. Yeah. But there was one guy there, and it took me a year to find out what he did. And his name was Harry Pugh.
Oh, yeah.
And,
I remember Harry Pugh.
And he was a Welsh guy, and a very nice man who told great stories in the pub with a pipe in one hand and a pint of beer in the other all day long. Because although the licensing laws in those days restricted licensing drinking from sort of 11 till 3 at lunchtime, it didn't matter in newspaper offices or pubs next to newspaper offices. It just stayed open all day. Yeah. Nobody cared. But Harry Pugh never seemed to do anything. We had a late-night drinking session one night about something. I said, what exactly do you do, Harry? He says, what? He said, you've never heard of my unit? I said, no, what is it? He said, I'm Harry Pugh from Unit 2. Unit 2 was the investigations unit.
Yeah.
And he had his own office, right? And it had Unit 2 written on the front door.
It was all very secretive.
He went in there. I mean, nothing ever happened. Just hidden bottles of whiskey, in the bottom drawer of the cabinets and all that.
Staggering.
Nothing ever happened.
Absolutely incredible.
No, absolutely.
Now, here's one from Raymond in Glasgow on the subject of the free matches that we're going to see. Mike's, the 12 Champions League and 14 Europa League matches will be shown free to air on a new digital sports channel, BT Sports Showcase. Each British team, including Celtic, should feature at least once. And so this is some, undertaking that they've given.
Yeah,
but it may well be that because you're paying for it, that doesn't really matter.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
And here's one on the subject of Joey Barton, we were talking about a little bit earlier. This is from David. He says, Joey Barton is like, I've always been involved in football. Mr. Angry, arrogant, fronting up to officials, finding trouble where none exists, basically a pain in the neck to anyone who has the misfortune to come into contact with him. What joy they get from the game is beyond me. The saddest part is the amount of media coverage he gets, which far outweighs his ability. West Ham would be advised to keep his destabling presence well away from the club.
Yeah, it is a fact of life, isn't it? That Joey Barton's now taken very seriously as a kind of philosopher by certain elements of the...
Although I have to say, when he appeared on Question Time last year, or last season
made
anyway,
a fool of himself,
he didn't exactly cover himself in glory.
Is that right?
No. I mean, he just didn't look very bright, unfortunately.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Listen, do you ever play like pub games, like Skittles or anything like that?
Well, I have done in the past. Not really as a general rule now.
And as you
used to quite like bar billiards.
Bar billiards, that's right. I quite like that. Why did the table always tick?
I think that was something to do with the amount of time you had.
That's right, I think it was, yeah. But now you live on the south coast, quite near to France. Do you not play boules?
Eh?
Do you not play boules?
What do you mean near to France?
Well, you do live near to France, don't you?
Well, not that particularly.
Well, you've got the coast.
Well, I mean, we all live quite near to France. It's over there.
Yeah, well, know what I mean. Yeah, but I mean, it's nearer to Calais than me, isn't it? It's down that way, so to speak.
Not really, no.
Yeah.
I mean, it would be sooner. I'd get to your house sooner than I would get to Calais. Yeah. Particularly at the moment.
Okay. Anyway, listen. The point of the story is,
I mean, I used to have a boule kit when I was a child because we used to go camping in a place called the Lido di Jesolo, which was near Venice.
In France?
Venice. No, in Italy.
Well, it's in Italy. Well, they don't play boules in Italy.
Yeah, they do. Boule is a sort of continental European game.
I thought it was a French thing.
Well, I think the French play it a lot, but I mean, it's played all over the place.
Yeah.
And we would play it on the beach. And you used to be able to buy, I was very proud of it, you used to buy like a little case, and it was open, but it carried the 6 balls and the 1 boule ball in the middle, and you could walk around with it. And I had that as a child.
Oh, I see. You used to like walking around with your boule kit, did you?
Yeah, I did, I thought it was quite cool.
Quite cool.
So what you do in Hampstead. I've got my boule kit. Just in case. And funnily enough, actually, if we went down, that pub we go to sometimes in Hayes Galleria by London Bridge, by the HMS Belfast.
Yes.
If you look carefully, when you walk through the kind of where the shops are.
Yes.
Where the roof is.
Yes.
There's a boule little playing area there.
Is there?
And people play it quite a bit.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
What's those big ceilings called? Those
it's like an atrium.
Ones? Atrium, that's right. Yeah, no, you're right. Anyway, the reason I'm telling you all this is because boules has been swept away in France by a new game which they've taken in from Finland.
Oh, yeah.
And it's called Molki.
Molki?
Molki.
How's that played?
It's a load of sticks.
Right.
It involves throwing a wooden stick and a lot of other wooden sticks. No, seriously, it does. And
it's handy if you want to start a fire as well.
No, the reason I know this is because, of course, I keep in touch with newspapers around the world.
Of course you do. Yeah.
And
what's the paper called in Finland?
It's not a Finnish paper I got it from. It's Parisien.
Oh, right, okay.
Le Parisien.
Le Parisien, yeah.
The newspaper in France.
Well-known paper, yeah.
Yeah, said the game had become more popular than pétanque.
Pétanque,
what's
yeah.
pétanque?
Well, that's a kind of form of boule as well.
Is it? Okay, yeah, and boules. Now, what happens is, it says this development underlines an immense social fracture at the heart of French society.
Really?
God knows why. On the one side of the Gulf are ageing working-class men who continue to play pétanque, which involves throwing metal balls at a jack. So that's boules, isn't it? On the other side, 30-something urbanites of both sexes have taken up molki, which they typically play while sipping a spritzer and eating a quinoa salad, OK? What are you laughing at?
It's quinoa.
What?
It's quinoa.
All right, quinoa then. Now, they
I can just imagine going into a place and going, excuse me, my man, you may have a quinoa salad, please.
That's right, yeah, well, that's the way English
and
pronounce
some
it.
sticks.
Anyway, the aim is to knock over Skittles worth a range of points from 1 to 12. The winner is the
What's
first
the
to
name of
50
this game?
points. Molky.
Molky. M-O-L what?
M-O-L-K-K-Y.
K-K-Y, okay.
And the people get so passionate about it, they travel hundreds of miles to meet regional champions and play them.
Really?
Molky players tend to travel widely. A spokesman for Marin d'Eau Douce, who's a boat hire company on the Ourcq Canal in Paris,
Right.
Has taken to renting out Molky sets for €5 for the afternoon. He said it's mainly upper-middle-class people who play Molky. They're in the 30s and they try it out. But the others stick to pétanque. What are you laughing at? What is your problem?
It's just more nonsense.
No, it's
Why
not,
do I
no.
need to know any of this?
No, because you do.
You've now got me looking up the rules of Molky.
Yeah, that's right.
Which says the pins are placed in a formation. For the first game, the throwing order is drawn.
Right.
In following games, the throwing order is formed according to the previous game's results.
Yeah.
First player throws at the grouping and tries to knock over pins. Molky is always thrown underhand.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, where'd you find this rubbish?
Well, listen, it's become so big. There's now 33 Molky associations in France,
Really?
right? And Michael Hazard, who's chairman of
Is he related
Baton...
to Eden Hazard?
No. He's chairman of Baton Mouche,
Right.
the biggest Molky association in Paris. Yeah. He's
Maybe we should get a set of this stuff and we could have a game over in the TalkSport garden.
I think it's a good idea.
What do you think?
Film it. Yeah, that's definitely it. Yeah, let's see if we can get a Molky set.
Yeah.
That'd be great. I'll go and look for one tomorrow.
Yeah, all right.
I will. Seriously,
Okay.
I'll go look for one.
All right.
See if we can get out and sort it
a
out.
Molky search.
Yeah, exactly.
All
Yeah,
right,
good
great.
thinking.
Excellent. Right, coming up, winners and
I just
losers.
thought you'd like to know that.
The new version is next on TalkSport.
TalkSport on DAB Digital Radio and 1089 and 1053 AM.
Freedom for sport.
Can we kick it? Yes, we can. TalkSport.
It's a new season. The Premier League got underway this weekend, and just as the Premier League is in a new season, so is winners and losers. You might remember that last season, it was only last week actually, the final score, the tally was 12 to me and 4 to you. We've now got a chance to reset that whole scenario, and we start 0-0, 0-0, and we have the whole season to go. So you have the opportunity for the first time, I think, to go into the lead. If you win this week,
excellent,
you'll be 1-0 up.
Excellent, that's brilliant.
A position
good,
you've
good.
never ever
good.
occupied.
Well, I intend to win this series.
All right,
okay.
All right, good.
Right.
Well, I'm happy to say that we've already decided that we're going to alternate week by week. This week, Mr. Parry, if you wish to vote for him, will be favourited.
Yes.
If you wish to vote for me, you will be retweeting.
Yes.
And we'll send out a tweet from the Two Mics account in a little while. But as time permits, or as we should always observe, you should go first. So do you want to go first with your losers of the weekend?
Okay, I'll go first with my losers of the weekend, okay?
Yeah.
Right, the first one is rookie ref Simon Hooper.
Okay.
He wiped out Cameron Girone's goal versus Crystal Palace. It was a perfectly good goal, but he said it was dangerously high kicking. It wasn't. It was opportunist, and I'm afraid that literally rubbed off what was a very, very good Premier League, an important Premier League goal at the weekend, okay?
Okay, well, there were a few mistakes, weren't there, over the weekend?
Well,
I suppose, as you would expect.
that was the one. That was the one that really badly altered
But why
the
would you
result of the
blame
game.
him? What about his officials, his
No,
linesmen?
I blame him because he was there and he had to. He was very close by and he had to judge it as to. The point is that it was a brilliant bit of skillful football by Cameron Jerome, and a defender put his head towards where Cameron Jerome was kicking the ball. It wasn't Cameron Jerome kicking the defender, right?
Seems a very isolated sort of story for a loser.
No. Because of that, the game in which Cameron Jerome played and ended in a draw should have been a victory for his team. And I'm sorry, you've got to blame Mr. Hooper for that, and that's 2 lost points. That is a big loser.
Okay.
That is a big loser, okay?
Then.
The second big loser, Raheem Sterling. Raheem Sterling...
So you're just picking on him
I'm
now.
not.
There you are.
He
How's he
made
lost?
Because he missed 2 golden opportunities.
His team won 3-0.
He missed 2 golden opportunities.
His team won 3-0.
He missed 2 golden opportunities to score his debut Premier League goal for Manchester City, and he was taken off after 70 minutes. You can't call that a very successful first game in the Premier League.
Well,
you can't.
I think you'll get hammered for that.
No, I don't think I will. I think I'll get a lot of support. And the third one is Kermit the Frog, because Kermit has dropped Miss Piggy, and I find
that was a week old.
No,
it's
not.
Ago.
No, it's not. It's not. Believe me.
We talked about that a week ago.
No, we did not.
Yeah, we did.
No, we did not. This happened last week.
Past the sell-by date.
No. All the response and the reaction from the world is no. Don't be ridiculous. This is the first time we've had winners and losers since this happened. I'm telling you, it definitely is. So I'm afraid they're my 3 losers. Rookie ref Simon Hooper, it's a very, very good one. Raheem Sterling, a bit obvious, but necessarily needed to be named.
So even you've admitted
and
it's a bit
Kermit
obvious.
the Frog.
So you're already dissing your own choices.
No, I'm not dissing my own choices.
Is this the best you can do for the first one of the new season?
I'm telling you, mate, you have to go a long way down the road to beat those.
Really?
I'm telling you, yeah.
Well, I'm going to go down
rubbish you'll come up with.
I'm going to go down that road now. My first loser of the weekend is Kyle Walker. Not just because he scored an own goal against his own team, Tottenham, as they played Manchester United. Not just because, obviously, that's a pretty awful thing to have to do, particularly when that one goal is what separates the teams and Tottenham get no points and Man United get 3. But because it was the first time ever since the Premier League has been instituted, since the 92-93 season, that the opening goal of the season has been scored as an own goal.
Yeah,
so I think that now his as a statistic that will live in the history books for years.
That's a pathetic choice.
I think it's a brilliant choice.
Pathetic choice, honestly.
All right.
Goodness sake, defenders score own goals all the time.
Yeah, but very rarely.
That's hardly.
I mean, I guarantee you, you go to any pub quiz down the years, and they will say, which season was the only season that a Premier League goal. First goal that went in was an own goal.
That's a rubbish.
Second is New York football fans. You might have read, we were talking about a little bit earlier, the New York City FC and the New York Red Bulls fans got into a punch-up outside of a pub in Newark in New Jersey ahead of their local derby. Absolutely ludicrous, ridiculous behaviour. If they think that is what football is all about in 2015, then I think they've got an awful lot to learn.
Very
and
generic,
I know we were talking to Adrian Heath about it earlier, and he said, well, it is ridiculous, but it tells you that a derby rivalry is just as good. We don't want to export that kind of behaviour. We don't do it here anymore, and I think it's shameful.
It's very,
so they are big losers.
Very
and my final
wide-ranging,
loser of the weekend is Rory McIlroy. Right. Rory McIlroy has suddenly announced that he is 100% sure that he's going to be able to play in the PGA Championship.
Well, I think he's a winner for that.
Well, no, he's not.
I think he's a winner for coming back so quickly.
Because he's also explained that if he was going to play football with his injury, he wouldn't be able to, but he thinks he's okay to play golf. Now, I would guarantee you right now that Rory McIlroy will be doing very well to make the cut of this tournament.
He says he's 100% ready for golf.
Yeah, he is. But he also says in the same breath he's not 100% ready for football.
Well, he's not a footballer. He's a golfer.
But I think he's coming back too soon. I think he's falling to pressure bowing to pressure, I should say, from the sponsors. And I think it's going to be a mistake. And
I think that's a pathetic choice.
I'm hoping that I'm proved wrong on this one, but I very, very much doubt it. Those are my 3 losers. Let's hear what your winners are.
Right, my winners
Hang on, wait for the music, though.
Oh, OK. Yeah.
Everyone's a winner, baby, that's no lie. That's no lie. You never fail to satisfy.
As we said earlier, the voting will be open until midnight tonight. It's the first one of the new season. Retweet for me, favourite for Mr. Parry. Let's hear your 3 winners of the week.
My first is sensational because I found this out through detailed research, the
book of
research
fridges.
machine. No, it's Leicester City, right? So they got off to a terrific start under Ranieri. I didn't think they would, but they did, so you've got to give them their due.
Yeah, well, you can't claim it as a winner then.
Well, I can because of this reason. Because I worked out that with the 3 points they got at the weekend, if the Premier League had started on April the 1st this year, they'd now be top of the Premier League. They've taken more points.
So what?
They've taken more points since April the 1st than any other Premier League team.
You might as well say if there had been an earthquake underneath, Stamford Bridge before the end of last season, Chelsea might not have been able to complete the season.
That makes them the ultimate winners. It really does. That's a fantastic statistic.
Rubbish.
That alone will probably win me this week's competition.
I very much doubt
the second is a very obvious one, but it has to be a nomination. Reece Oxford, the 16-year-old who made his debut for West Ham, sensational game. You ask any expert, including Graham Souness. Graham Souness said it was frightening to see the ability the boy had in controlling the midfield for West Ham against Arsenal, particularly against Mesut Ozil, who he said he had in his back pocket. So that's terrific. And the third one, funny enough, is a friend of yours and one you've probably missed. But Michelle Mone is to be made a peer. She's
That's
to be
an
made
ancient story as well.
It's not.
That's over a week old.
No, it's not.
I knew that about 2 weeks ago.
Well, you didn't, mate, because it was only announced last Thursday morning. And,
Thursday morning?
Yeah.
This is meant to be about this weekend.
No, it's not. It's meant to be about the past 7 days, mate. Don't worry about that.
I'm not worried about it.
I'm telling you now. Yes, but she's only agreed to take it today.
Oh, you're making out this is a
point.
new story.
Of course it is.
You're backtracking again.
I'm not backtracking. I never backtrack.
Rubbish.
And for Michelle Mone to have been elevated to the peerage is a sensational winning story.
She was at Piers Morgan's party, funnily enough.
Absolutely.
I had a chat to her.
And she is therefore my third winner of the week. Yes.
Would you like me to introduce her to you?
Maybe.
Because now she's going to be a dame.
Maybe, yeah. There ain't nothing but a dame. yeah.
All right, would you like to hear what mine are?
Well,
yours are absolutely hopeless.
No, they're not as good as mine.
Yours are absolutely hopeless.
Mine are wonderful.
I was actually going to nominate Claudia Ranieri, but I was going to do it with a lot more kind of pizzazz than you, because I said I believe Claudia Ranieri is a great idea for Leicester.
Yes.
But now that you've done Leicester, I'm not going to do that, right?
Okay,
I'm going to throw that one away,
good.
and I'm going to give you instead James Cracknell.
James Cracknell?
Yeah.
What's James Cracknell done?
Well, he's an Olympic rower, as you might know. He's one of the great Olympic rowers.
Oh, okay,
who sat in that boat with all of those other great Olympic rowers.
Yeah.
At the weekend, he was down in Croyd.
Yes.
Down in Devon.
Yes.
A very nice part of the world.
Yes.
And he and his 11-year-old son actually saved the life of a young boy and his granddad from drowning in the sea.
Yeah, well, that's very commendable, but hardly in this category of winner, is it? I mean, you'd have to, anybody would have done the same had they seen what was going on.
Well, you wouldn't.
I certainly would have jumped in and saved those people.
Would you?
Yes,
well,
without
the
doubt.
fact is you didn't, and they did, and therefore they are going to be hailed as winners this particular week.
That's a very, very loose definition
Now,
of
my
winning.
second one is John Terry. And I'll tell you why.
Terry?
Not because Chelsea had a pretty miserable performance, and not because Chelsea had a pretty miserable performance, but because of what John Terry said about Peter Cech. John Terry's obviously upset the apple cart at Arsenal because he said that Peter Cech would be worth at least 12 to 15 points this season. Now, what he didn't say was that he meant 12 or 15 points to Chelsea.
Opposition.
Because after Peter Cech had actually blundered his way through that game against West Ham, suddenly Arsenal have got no points. And if the Premier League season ended today, they'd be relegated.
Yeah, but that's a very perverse decision, I'm afraid. A very perverse nomination by you.
I think that's a very good one. So he's a winner. My third winner is a young man by the name of Bradley Bubb.
Bradley Bob, never heard of him. No.
He plays for Oxford City.
Oh, right, okay.
As a striker.
Yeah.
And it's the National League South that he plays in. And they were playing against Chelmsford City.
So nobody's ever heard of him, obviously.
Chelmsford City at the weekend. He's 27.
Yes.
Scored one of the goals of the weekend. Do you know how?
No.
And I'm going to be putting this out on Twitter in a moment for everybody to see, just to see how good it is.
Yeah.
The ball was kicked off. And the ball was passed to him, literally, with the first kick of the ball. He lobbed it over the goalkeeper into the back of the net.
Right, okay.
So, straight from the kick-off in the second half to level the score at 2-2.
Yeah, I'm not sure that
it's a fantastic goal.
Not sure that
if you haven't seen it, you really, really should have a look at it.
I
would say that all of those three, by far and away, outweigh anything that you've come up with.
No.
So I'm about to, for anyone who's interested in that particular story, I'm about to send it out on Twitter now.
Okay, good,
so you can have a look. So, by all means, judge between now and midnight tonight. We will count the votes shortly thereafter.
Yeah.
You retweet for me, and you favourite for Mr. Parry.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure that it's not much of a contest, to be honest.
No, it's not much of a contest. Mine were outstandingly good and well thought out tonight. Yours were a load of drivel.
Is that what you think?
Drivel.
Well, we shall see. This is Talk Sport with the two mics. You know that song, don't you?
Where's that from?
The Sopranos.
The Sopranos. That's exactly what we needed. The Sopranos.
Woke up this morning.
Yeah. Guess what? Giovanni, John the Eagle, Ridgie.
Hey? You mean Giovanni?
John, who's known as John the Eagle, Ridgie, has died. And when you say, so what? Well, he was the New Jersey mafia boss,
right?
And his mob inspired the Sopranos television series.
So he was the real life Tony Soprano.
He was the real life Tony Soprano.
Right.
He really was. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And
was he in waste management as well? Then I suppose he was.
Well, yeah, I'll tell you what I know about him. Now, I didn't realise that as far back as 1999 The Sopranos was being made. Did you know that?
Yeah, I mean, it's quite an old show now. I mean, obviously, James Gandolfini died a few years back anyway.
He did,
But when he died, I mean, it had already been going for a long time.
Yeah. Anyway, they had a writer called David Chase, right?
Yeah.
And he somehow had some sort of connection with the Di Cavalcante family, led by Giovanni John the Eagle Ricci. The mobsters found the comparisons with this new show fascinating and started asking each other, this looks and sounds like us.
Right.
They found out later that the whole series had been based on them. Now,
But had the guy written it based on sort of stories that he'd read rather than people that he knew?
No, he knew people who were associated to this Di Cavalcantes based in New Jersey. Now, the thing is, because they were based in New Jersey, and I think this is reflected in The Sopranos, isn't it? They were actually looked down upon by the major mob families
in New York. Yeah,
and there were 5 of them based in New York City, based in Manhattan,
right?
Because and other boroughs.
Well, like the Gambinos and all that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But
I think so, because they were looked upon as slightly unsophisticated and a little bit kind of out of the sticks and all that kind of thing.
They were known as the Farmers because they came from New Jersey.
Right.
This family were known as the Farmers, you know.
Right.
And but they were the oldest of the 24 American-based families, excuse me, of La Cosa Nostra, but got pushed out to New Jersey by stronger families who came in and took over New York, you know.
Right.
But the interesting thing was that none of them ever got done for anything which was reflected in the series.
Right.
Because the obvious legal implications of portraying something in the series that happened in real life, you know, made it
there were
a
few bits of the series where there was kind of infiltration going on. The FBI was trying to get involved, and the FBI pulled a couple of the members of the family out and you know, isolated them and tried to get stuff done. But as you say, nothing really ever stuck on them. Certainly not on Tony.
No, but it's
fantastic series. You've never watched it, have you?
Yes, I have, but only sort of the odd episode here, episode there. But I know, for instance, Alan Brazil, he'll be here, won't he, in a few hours' time?
He'll be here at 6 o'clock.
I mean, he can sit down and watch a whole box set of Sopranos over the weekend.
I've got the box set,
you know what I mean?
Enough.
Yeah.
In fact, I've loaned it out to somebody. I need to get it back.
So how many series are
I think it's 5.
5? And how many programmes are in each, then? About 12?
Yeah, something like that.
So it's about 60
I
programmes.
mean, I couldn't watch it all in one weekend.
No.
But I could certainly watch it again, having watched it once, you know?
Yes.
Because, funnily enough, with The Sopranos, I used to watch the odd sort of episode, probably a bit like you, when it was on Sky Atlantic.
Yes.
And suddenly I'd switch on the TV late, and I'd go, oh, that's a great episode of The Sopranos. And funnily enough, like often is the case with these things, I've seen 2 or 3 of the episodes about 4 times each.
Right.
Because when you watch it randomly.
Yeah, that's me. That. The one I keep seeing...
But I think I told us about 86 episodes, something like that.
Good God, the one I keep seeing is when he suddenly decides to go and see a shrink who's a woman and then starts trying to seduce her.
Yeah, that's right.
And I think that's pretty...
Do you know she's the same woman that was in Goodfellas?
Oh,
she was Henry Hill's girlfriend in Goodfellas, or his wife, actually.
Oh, I didn't know that.
He became his wife. What's even more annoying about her, right, is that she lives in Connecticut, that woman, and she was one of my favourite stars of any kind of Goodfellas stroke mafia type situation. And she was once at my sister's house for dinner.
Yeah.
And whenever I go to see my sister over in America, she's always got all sorts of people visiting her for dinner. Never once has she brought this woman round for dinner while I've been there.
So is she a friend of hers now?
No, she's a friend of a friend or something like that.
Oh, I see.
So
and she brought her with her.
Yeah, it's not like somebody that she knows firsthand. But I'm like, I'll tell you what, next time I come to New York, would you mind awfully just like inviting her? Because I'd love to meet her.
Yeah, of course you would, yeah.
Apart from the fact that I find her quite sort of attractive as well.
Yeah, well, absolutely. You should, especially with the glasses on and in that sort of business suit, sitting behind that desk talking to a mafia boss. You see, what I never could understand, perhaps I haven't watched enough episodes of The Sopranos, is were they evil or were they...
Well, yeah.
No, were they evil or were they like, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know, protectors of their community.
Well, I mean, it's a bit like in Goodfellas when the guy's narrating it,
Yes.
Ray Liotta, when he narrates
All
it.
my
Says,
life I wanted to be a mobster.
Yeah, that's right. But one of the things he says is, what the thing about the FBI they never got and that the people never got was that this was like the FBI for bad guys because they couldn't go to the police with their problems.
Yeah.
And so they'd have to have their own little organisation to kind of protect everyone and to keep a kind of order.
Yes.
So when you think about some of the things that they did, and I mean, you might argue that, well, they didn't actually kill any innocent people.
Yeah.
But eventually they do, because they're involved in organised crime. So they're involved in drugs, they're involved in, protection. Yeah. They're not doing very nice things.
So what did Tony Soprano actually do?
Well, I mean, as he described to his daughter, and he's taken her up to the sort of colleges of New England.
Yes.
Where she turns to at one point, and she's kind of coming of age, and all her kids in school know that he's in the mafia.
Yeah.
And she goes, "Daddy, are you in the mafia?" And he goes, No, absolutely not. And he comes out with all this rubbish about he's in waste management.
Yeah.
Because it's all like the garbage business and everything else,
Yeah.
which they have because they had legitimate businesses. You had a strip bar as well.
Yeah.
I mean, when I was a member of a golf club in New York years ago, in Westchester County, there were guys in that club that were in the mafia.
Right.
And they used to greet each other on the first tee with the old kiss and the hug and all that.
Yeah.
One of them ended up going to prison for what they called racketeering. And he was
nick a few golf balls.
He was in the building business, right?
Yeah, right.
And they used to have this mafia window tax. Basically, they would say, "Look, the Teamsters, who were the union, we won't be put your building up unless you pay us a window tax."
Yeah.
And so, like, for every window that was going into a skyscraper, they demanded something like $20.
Oh, gosh.
And if you think about how many hundreds of windows...
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, they made a lot of money.
They made a lot of money, yeah. Because funny you should say that. Where this guy got lots of information from was some bar they used. Hang on.
In New Jersey?
Yeah. Right, here we go. There was also the location, the D. Cavalcantes, the only mafia family operating solely in New Jersey, hung out in a dive bar with pole dancers. It was called the Ribera Club.
Oh, yeah.
And it was across the street from the coffee shop that Ridgie owned as a cover to his criminal business, OK? Chase, this is the writer, the guy who wrote it, guy called, what did I say his name was? David Chase, is it?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Yeah. Chase conflated the two into Tony Soprano's strip joint. The man cave, the Bada Bing.
Right.
Was that the name of his...
The Bada Bing, yeah.
The Bada Bing.
Bada Bing.
Was that his HQ?
Yeah. That was it, yeah.
He also infused Gandolfini's alter ego with the profound anxiety from which Simon de Cavalcanti suffered after experiencing nightmares. I had a terrible dream about a bunch of cops, he told his lover. And after serving time for racketeering, de Cavalcanti retired to Florida, leaving Rigi in charge.
Yeah.
So it was all,
That's nice, because I've never heard of that guy before at all.
Yeah, exactly. Well, he's dead now anyway.
Yeah.
But he was the one he was based on.
Oh, well, there we are. Now, something else I would wish to bring to your attention.
Right.
I was going to ask you about Rory McIlroy, because he kind of appeared in Winners and Losers. He's on the front page of the Daily Telegraph. I'm just very nervous that, for him, that if he has this terrible ankle injury. I mean, he completely ripped apart his ankle ligaments, right? People have said it could be a very long time to recover from something like that. He's only been out for 5 weeks.
Yes.
And he's playing golf this weekend at the PGA.
At the very highest level.
At the very highest level.
USPGA Championship, the fourth major.
Whistling Straits in Wisconsin, right?
Yeah.
He says, I'm 100% ready. If he's coming back a little bit early, we saw what happened to Tiger Woods, he could actually damage his future prospects in a bigger way.
Of course he could, yeah, of course he could. I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
I mean, when you think about the twists and turns that the golfer's body has to make in the course of 18 holes of golf, and then you multiply that by 4 over 4 days... Excuse me, I do hope his ankle is properly healed.
I mean, and that's nothing to say about him being kind of match fit, if you like. It's nothing to do with his ankle. I mean, he hasn't played a round of competitive golf properly, for over 5 or 6 weeks.
No, that's true.
So, I mean, the idea that he's going to be on his game or even ready, to me, is a massive gamble.
What, are you saying they've got to be physically fit to play golf, then?
Well, one, you've got to be physically fit, but also, two, if you're going to be competing at that kind of level, and you're going to be coming down the 18th in contention for the 4th major of the year, you might want to have played a bit of competitive golf in the previous 6 weeks, but he hasn't.
Yeah, but on the physical fitness thing, you're only walking around a golf course, aren't you?
Yeah, well,
it's not the physically most arduous. If
no,
it was,
it is.
Well,
it's a very aerobic sport. The way these guys play, I mean, it's a bit different. It's a difference between you playing football and Raheem Sterling playing football. It's a different game.
It's not because if you think about it, who was the last English guy to win? Darren Clark. Mm-hmm. Right?
He's not English, though, is he?
Darren Clark's Irish.
He is indeed.
Yeah, Irish.
From Northern Ireland.
Northern Ireland, of course he is, yeah. I mean, he was overweight when he won the Open. wasn't
he? You say he was overweight.
He was.
I mean, you know, he was a guy of a certain age who was not as slim as he is now.
Yeah, well...
But that didn't... I mean, but you're making a point about...
No, Colin Montgomery carried a lot of weight when he was a golfer.
Yeah, but he didn't win any majors, did he?
Well, he nearly did, didn't he? He was in the playoff twice.
All I'm saying is that don't mistake your casual kind of, you know, weekend golfer's physique to that of these guys. Because,
yeah, but a lot of golfers are like that. Who's the American guy who carries a lot of weight?
John Daly, probably. You're thinking.
Well, John Daly certainly, but
Craig
he abused his body. Craig Stadler was overweight,
but I mean, very few now are.
Well,
as the game kind of changes,
I tend to disagree because
you can disagree as much as you like, but you're wrong.
No, not wrong. No.
You can't name any fat golfers, can you?
Fat golfers?
Yeah.
I just have named you half a dozen.
Well, Craig Stadler's not on the tour anymore. John Daly is not competing on a regular basis with anybody.
Sure.
Darren Clark has now lost a load of weight and actually looks even slimmer than Rory McIlroy.
He's also the captain, isn't he, of the Ryder Cup
team?
I
don't know where you're going to go after those three.
Well, no, listen, mate, all I'm saying is they did it in the past and became champions, so that can be done.
A long time ago.
It can be done.
Yeah, well, not anymore.
Yeah.
Anyway, I've got something else to tell you about.
Right, go on.
Because the Rugby World Cup, as we know, is not that far away. We've talked about Danny Cipriani in the past, whether or not it's a good thing or a bad thing that his court case seems to have been delayed until after the Rugby World Cup is played.
Yeah, strange one, that.
He's done a big interview with one of the papers this morning, The Sun, where he says that he was depressed for 9 months because he was dropped not only by England, but also by Kelly Brook.
Yeah, why has he started talking about that now?
Well, I don't know, really.
And also, it's done by a guy who describes himself as senior showbiz reporter.
Yeah.
I would have thought that, he should be really concentrating on the sports pages.
Ryan Kissiel?
Yeah.
Sounds like Kiss and Tell.
Yeah, I've never heard him, Never heard of him.
Well, he's never heard of you either.
No, well, he probably has. I bet there's more chance of him having heard of me than me having heard of him.
Very possibly. But in the end, actually, it's because, as we get older and your reporters get younger, that's why we haven't heard of them.
No, that's absolutely right. Danny Cipriani has revealed how his world imploded and he battled depression for 9 months after splitting from Kelly Brook and being dumped from the England team.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if one of those had happened to you, it could be a mistake. If both happen, you get the feeling that you've been negligent about something there.
Exactly right.
And also, I'm a bit cynical about this because I can't ever remember Danny Cipriani, weeping crocodile tears because I've lost my girlfriend, Kelly Brook, because he seemed to be the type of guy who would have another girl on his arm within a matter of days, if not hours.
Well, he may have been in love with Kelly Brook, though.
Well,
she's a fine-looking woman.
She's a very fine-looking woman. I mean, she's a wonderful-looking woman.
She's one of the women on your FMP list.
Definitely, when there was one. I'm out of close that for now. I think it's really maybe it's a false dawn.
What, closed it like permanently? You mean?
Well, we'll see. The search for the first Mrs. Parry has been a long and grueling
and in many ways, pointless.
What? And
you've never even got close to stop finding the first Mrs. Parry.
And obviously it's been full of its heartbreak.
Of course.
I've had
You're not trying to play the sympathy vote again just because it's Monday night going into Tuesday.
No.
The winners and losers, because that's normally that's the trick you pull.
No. But if the audience want to make me feel better by voting for me, winners and losers, please do. Remember, favourite to vote for Porky.
At the moment it's 38 to me and 22 to you.
Oh well, you see that'll soon change. Now it says here the rugby ace opened up for the first time about the dozens of beauties he has dated, including his only serious girlfriend, which is what he calls Kelly, as in Kelly Brook. And he revealed details about his fling with his teen fantasy girl, Katie Price.
Oh, yeah.
Well, he's been getting around a bit, this boy, hasn't
he? Certainly has. How bizarre.
My bad boy image has been my biggest obstacle. Well, you shouldn't have been a bad boy then, should you?
Well, that's one of the great truisms you've actually said tonight.
Yeah, exactly.
Very good.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, anyway, all that remains to be done is for you to retweet the tweet that I put out on the Two Mikes account, or favourite for Mr. Parry.
Favourite, please. Favourite.
All right, we'll try not to
beg. I'm the good guy.
Try not to beg.
I'm not begging. I'm the good guy in this one.
Okay. And you can vote until midnight tonight, only once preferably, and we'll give you the result in the show when we kick it off at 1 o'clock tomorrow night. It'll be Ask Porky, of course, tomorrow night.
It will.
And we've got...
vote for Porky, vote often.
This is Talk Sport. We are the Two Mikes.
Look at the light! Don't forget to come back tomorrow for another sparkling, as fizzy as a bottle of champagne, podcast from the Two Mikes. So you haven't seen Shaun the Sheep?
No.
Well, you don't know what you're talking about then, do you?
Well, you haven't seen it either.
Well, of course I haven't seen it, because it's gone to America, isn't it?
You mean there's only one copy?
Well,
let's get over there.
No.
I had no idea.
No,
I'm sorry, we can't show Shaun the Sheep today
don't be ridiculous.
in the Odeon Swiss cottage because we've sent the film away to America.
Very funny. I spent years rubbing bits of wood together.
Yeah.
Nothing ever happened.
If you love the Two Mics podcast, you'll love the live show. Weekday overnights from 1am on DAB Digital Radio and 1089 and 1053 AM and via the TalkSport app. TalkSport, your Premier League station with exclusive commentaries every weekend.
What an absolute corker!
TalkSport.
Why would you want an artificial volcano?